Hey guys, it's Milka. Welcome back to my channel, NutAeum. It has been a minute, and by minute I mean month. I know I've been away for a long time. I appreciate you guys for still being here, for still tuning in. I was worried that I was worried that some of you guys would disappear, to be honest with you, because I did for a little, but I really needed to kind of walk my talk, and just like I always recommend to you guys, like whenever you need the time, then you should take it. And like everything that was going on with like the planets, I mean, it's finished now, but you know, a couple of weeks ago it ended, or like 2 weeks ago it ended, but like we had this whole like started with the Venus retrograde and then everything else down to until Mercury retrograde ended, and it kind of towards the end really took a little bit of a toll. I know it took a toll on a lot of people, but yeah, I needed to preserve my energy a little bit more to focus on like sustaining me, because otherwise if I were to keep giving, it's almost like, it's like if I had a cup, you know, and the cup ended up getting a hole in it. And so I'm always pouring water out of that cup, right, to give to you guys and like clients and just people in my life. And then if I have a hole in that cup, the water is also just seeping out of me. So I don't have enough to do both. So I needed to go in and do the repair in the hole so that I can have the cup fill up again so that I can pour out. Well, it's a weird example, but you know, that's basically the gist of what I'm saying. I'm going to be making a post about it, like a written post for those of you guys. Ooh, ding. That's my potatoes. They're done. But I'm going to be making that post for those of you guys who don't watch this video, you know, just as a thank you for your support, for your being here and your kind words in the time that I've been gone. So thank you guys. I'm really, really grateful to you and for this community that we have with each other. And this, that we can all support each other, you know, like it's amazing. But yes, okay. So something that I will say, I know a lot of people use crystals for their group selections and stuff like that. And I used to do that in the beginning, and I'm not saying I'll never do it again, but I'm going to continue using objects for now. And I'm very, very into stationery, you guys. So I think I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on stationery things and just showing you, you know, the types of things that are out there through the little group selection options. So I've already kind of been doing that, but I don't know, I felt the need to say it. So if you guys have any questions about the stuff that you see that I use as the group selection stuff, you can always feel free to ask, and I'll let you know what it is if I can remember. Most of the stuff I know what it is. But yes, without further ado, after this long little note, hi guys, how are you? All right, let's begin. So I've got 4 groups for you guys today. But before we get into the groups, actually, I guess, as I'm out of practice, I forgot to do my little shameless self-plug. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know really quickly that I do make custom crystal bracelets. This is an example of one of them. This is one that I kind of use in my personal life very often. And they're charged with Reiki, light language, and they're attuned with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish or achieve in your life, a specific goal that you may have in mind. And the crystals are custom picked, you know, for whatever it is that you would like to attract more of in your life. So yes, I do those. I also have a couple of examples on my website, which is in the description box below. You can just click on that and then click on bracelets, and then you'll see a couple of pictures of examples that I've made for clients previously. And it's just some of them, you know, because it would be way too many to take pictures of, and I didn't take pictures of all of them because I don't know, I didn't think that far ahead. Also, if you want a bracelet that you see, like a replica of a bracelet that you already saw in those photos, you can also just let me know and I can make one of those too. I also offer private personal readings, okay, and I'm working on revamping my website to kind of give you guys more details, but for now, like about the readings, so that you don't have to reach out to me unless you have questions or unless you want a book or whatever. So it's a lot of stuff that I've got to do. But for now, since that's not live on the website yet, you can just reach out to me either through the contacts page on my website or through my email in the description box below. And yeah, and you can reach out and find out about the private readings and the kind of stuff that I do, and I'll respond to you. Just give me like 48 hours to respond. And also, I do Reiki as well. So I am a certified Reiki master, and I do custom affirmation songs, which I'm going to include a little snippet of in a moment. But for those of you guys who are interested in like distant Reiki and all of the stuff, you can check that out soon on my services page on my website. So it's just kind of like a little putting it out there and stuff. Okay. But yes, now as for the affirmation songs, I do custom affirmation songs. I have a couple that I have posted on YouTube, which I have a playlist on my NutAeum page, and they're on my other channel. And then I also do custom affirmation songs for clients based on what it is that you would like to embody more or work on releasing or accepting and all of this other stuff. Okay, so if you're curious about that, here's a little snippet of my latest one that I had posted on YouTube. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I let go of my past. I am ready to move on. And now I accept that I know I am enough. Okay, yes, now without further ado, let's get into the reading. Okay guys, so you've got 4 groups to choose from. For those of you who are unfamiliar with my healing focus videos, we're going to be taking a look at what your current energy is or what you're currently experiencing, and that'll be kind of like an energy check. You can have more than one group. And then we're going to see what you have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of September, and then what your material world focus is for the month of October, and what Divine would like you to focus on healing in October. Okay, so for group 1, we have this beautiful Bungubox limited edition fountain pen. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but yes, look how gorgeous. Where's the? I don't know if you can see. Look how gorgeous this nib is. It is a solid gold nib. It's a fancy schmancy, and it's got stars on it. And I believe this pen is called, even here it's like with abalone, there's this little rodent pattern of kind of like little asterisks, but it's supposed to be a star. I don't know if it'll show on camera, but yes. So that's this pen. It's a beautiful pen, and it was a limited run by this Japanese company called Bungubox, and it was like a winter collection thing. I think it's called like Milky, Twinkle, Milky Way, like Twinkle Milky Way or something like that. Okay, for group number 2, we have this Kaweco collection sport fountain pen. So this is the pen itself. Here it is. Okay. For group number 3, we do not have a fountain pen. We actually have, these are foldable scissors. So it's like a pen style scissor thing. So we've got scissors for group number 3. And then for group number 4, we have the TWSBI Eco in this like pastel pink color. So I don't know why I'm opening the pens to show you all of the nibs, but here you go. This one's got a little bit of ink on it. But yes, so these are your options for today. So go ahead and take a moment, pick your group, and then we'll get right into your reading. Okay, timestamps are in the description box below, as well as the cards that I use. Hey group one, this is your group if you chose this beautiful, what is it, Twinkle Sparkle Milky Way Bungubox pen. And I already shuffled your cards last night, actually. Yes, I was like, you know what, let me get group one ready the night before so I can film at least a little portion of this video before I go to work. But yes. So this is your group. I actually took notes for you guys because I filmed it, because I shuffled last night. So I took some, sorry, my hands were, I washed my hands while you guys were choosing your groups. But yes, so I made sure to take notes of the stuff that I was feeling while I was shuffling. But I'm also gonna ring the singing bowl for you guys before we begin. And we're going to start out with your, like, what are you currently experiencing and what you have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of September, okay? Something I wanted to say, I felt, I saw the Devil card come up in the tarot decks that I used, in every single one of them while I was shuffling. Oh, and I just, as I said that, like I felt like a chill down my back. So I saw the Devil card come up in every single tarot deck that I used. I'm not saying they all fell out, but like while I was shuffling, it became prominent, or it was on the bottom of the deck. And so something that denotes to me, and I felt a sensation of fear a little bit, okay? So the Devil card is not a scary card. I know some people may be afraid just because of the name. Initially, when I started tarot many years ago, I used to feel the same way. Because of the image, the concept, but truth, like honestly, the devil is fear, right? It has a bunch of different meanings. It can be insecurities, it can be ego things. Like, it's not always just like, oh, pure evil. It's just lower vibrational, right? And fear is one of the more lower vibrational emotions. That's not to say that it's bad to feel it. It's just, it's human to feel it, okay? But once we become aware of it, we can start, sorry guys, I'm a little out of practice, so I'm like, so yes, once we become aware of it, we can start slowly, because what fear does, right? Fear makes us rigid, like stiff. So the way to overcome fear is to start stretching yourself a little bit and wiggling, so that even if there's fear, you lose that stiffness and you become more mobile and you can keep moving forward, right? Like you have more flexibility and stuff. Because it's that stiffness, that's when it becomes unhealthy for us. That's the initial response. But fear is not just something that we no longer have after you become spiritual or enlightened or healed. You know, it's human to experience it, especially in the world that we live in today, when we're constantly bombarded by things on, you know, social media, media in general, like society, even just like energetically, right? Just the energy of the day, of whatever is going on. So fear is something that is just a part of life, about the 3D life. But the way that you become brave is by pushing past the fear. The way that you can live your life is by having that mobility even when you're feeling fear, right? Another thing that I picked up, I kept getting the song Dancing, I think it's called Dancing with Your Shadow by Philip Phillips. Keep dancing. And when I saw the Devil card, right, and I felt that initial instinct of fear, which is not always happening, like that doesn't happen often, especially anymore, like whenever I see that card, I got that it's kind of like you guys needing to talk to your shadow self, right, to that darkness, because that it felt like something that was internal. The fear feels internal, you know, it feels like a little bit like self-inflicted. So yes, but okay, I'm just getting into a whole little something. So I feel like that was a message for somebody, okay? But yes, let's get into your cards. So we've got the Hierophant, the Wheel of Fortune, the Nine of Pentacles, Death. Oh yes, now that I'm seeing the Death card, I feel like I saw Death come up a couple of times too for you guys in the decks while I was shuffling. Nine of Swords, the Chariot. Oh, there it is, the Devil. The Eight of Swords, and then we'll get into the other cards afterwards. Also, I just wanted to point out the backs of the decks for you guys. You haven't seen this deck yet, but this is the Devil card. Okay. We have the Six of Swords, which I've seen the Six of Swords at some other part of your reading. You have the Two of Swords, the Hermit. You also have the Fool. Where can I make sure that you guys don't get the glare? Okay. And you also have, it's a cross, okay, Shark. And it says, trust your instincts to discern the truth of the situation. But whenever I see Shark, it also made me think of like fear and like tensing up before realizing like, oh, actually I can be mobile. Okay, so give me 1 second just to see what I'm picking up for your energy check. Okay, it's funny because I kind of feel like you guys are doing this like in between. It's like your conscious mind is aware that fear is an illusion, or like fear is not necessary, all of this stuff, right? Like consciously, logically, you understand that. But on this, because you guys keep trying to change whenever you feel fear, right? Instead of like diving deeper to really see the source of it. Because of that, I feel like the fear is all lying in the subconscious. Okay, so even though this was supposed to be an energy check, I feel you guys are unique. Maybe it's because you're my first group back, like getting back into doing readings, you know? So I feel like you guys are unique. Yours is a little different, I guess. It was supposed to be what you're currently experiencing, what you have the opportunity to leave behind, but it feels a little bit more like there's a different style of a message here, because what I'm seeing here is kind of like on one hand, you're trying to surrender and follow the path of God or of the light of your guides, right? It just feels like there is this beautiful positivity, and it's stuff that you have cultivated in the months before, okay? So it's like stuff that you had built up. But remember how I said, I don't know if you guys skipped past the intro, that's okay. But in the intro, I was mentioning how I was kind of going through a little bit of a rough period with all of the planetary stuff that we had going on, which is done now. And a lot of people that I have encountered and met and worked with and clients have been experiencing the same thing. So it was a big toll, a big healing experience. So like you guys were doing really great before, okay? And I feel like whatever was going on, it just brought up subconscious things. And then you guys were trying to maintain the energy or the state that you were in previously, right? That's what you guys have been doing. And because you've been trying to maintain that, it's like on some level, you guys were trying to change or suppress the fears and insecurities and doubts and past emotions that were trying to surface. Okay, so that's what it kind of feels like. And honestly, while I was shuffling the bottom, I accidentally said October and then I changed it back to September. So whenever I do that, I know that this is usually something that can bleed into the next month. So it's not necessarily just going to be completely left behind in September. This is already the end of September anyway, right? So it feels like with the bottom here being the subconscious and what you guys are gearing towards leaving behind, I feel guided to give you guys a technique to try out, okay? I think I've mentioned it in other readings before, but it's called the 7 whys, okay? As in like asking the question why. And the reason that it's called that is because when something comes up, for example, you can do it for career to understand why you want to be pursuing something or what your ultimate goal is so that you can redefine how you go about doing your career, like why it's your passion. You can do it in regards to connections with other people. You can do it to understand yourself deeper. And this is where I'm going in, because I feel like some of you guys are going to be like, I already know what I'm afraid of. And you guys, that's the ego. It doesn't hurt to try. Okay? It doesn't hurt to try. So what you would do is whenever you feel one of those emotions that you keep trying to be like, I'm not in that place anymore. I'm not in that state. I'm bringing myself back up to being high vibrational or like happy or positive. I'm trying to bring back that abundance that I had a couple of months ago, you know? So when you're trying to shift yourself from from the thing that whatever it is that you're trying to shift yourself from, instead of shifting yourself, ask yourself, why am I feeling this? And give yourself a minute, you know, and then see what the answer is. It's going to be a very obvious answer at first. Okay? That's going to be your first why. And then you ask yourself, and why is that important? Or if that kind of a question, does it imply that you can say, and why am I feeling that way? Right? So that would be the second why. And then depending on what your answer is for the second why, you're going to ask either, why is this important, or why am I feeling that way? Again, so that would be the third why, and then the fourth and the fifth and the sixth until you get to the seventh why, right? And that's going to be the reason, at least one, like the core stemming of where this fear is popping back up from, or where this anxiety is popping back up from. The true source of it, not just the parts that you know. Because the first few whys, you're going to be like, I already know this. I already know this. It's once you get to like the fifth why, the sixth why, and especially the seventh why, that it's more of an aha moment, because you're going to be like, oh, you know what? I didn't even realize. Because usually we tend, some people have done so much work, and I feel like you guys are kind of split between that. Like some of you guys have done this, some of you have not, where you can tell like what your issue is, right? Or like what the problem area is. But sometimes we have things that come out from specific memories, right? Sometimes it goes down to a specific memory that needs a little bit more healing or work, or to be addressed, right? And if you know why this is coming up, you can address it. If you know specifically why it's coming up, you can target that area to help that part of your subconscious feel like, oh, you know what? I don't need to stay in this state because this, and this. So if, for example, not with the fear, I'm just using this other thing as an example, just because I've experienced it before. But if, for example, the answer was something along the lines of like, I feel this way because, like ultimate, like if you were asking about a person and why there's fear involved or whatever. And so say the seventh reason is because this person would have been my like last hope. And I tried to make people fit because yada, yada, yada. Sorry, I'm like trying to, like I said, I'm a little out of practice, you guys. So I'm like really trying to get a narrower example, or a specific example, but it's like, yes. So you say whatever it is that you're saying. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, you guys. And a ding for my tofu nuggets. Yes, basically the gist of what I'm trying to say is, okay, so say for example, you did the technique and the reason was that if this person approves of you, like there's a fear because if you don't have this person's approval, then that means that you really aren't lovable. Like, or this person's approval would mean that you actually deserve love. Even though like consciously you could have been saying like, I am lovable, all of this stuff, but on a subconscious level, this is something that came up, right? So if that is something that comes up, then that means that the way you can address it is by starting to do those affirmations again, by talking to that inner child that feels like they're still unlovable, right? And by giving them that kind of like guidance, like, I am lovable, I do deserve to be loved, like holding your hand on your heart and everything, like sending that message to yourself, and then doing things that show you that you are lovable by making the decisions, right? So like if something feels like maybe you were doing something to be nice for somebody else, but it wasn't something that felt good to you or nice to you, right? Or like you didn't have the energy to do it. You show yourself you're lovable by doing that by doing kindly to yourself, right? By being kind to yourself, which means prioritizing you because you deserve it, because you are lovable, right? So it's the same thing with this fear. It's about kind of like figuring out the real reason, that specific memory that it's, because again, a lot of you guys will probably know like, oh, it's coming from this, it's coming from this, I already know that. But sometimes when a fear comes up again, sometimes it's triggered by a specific memory, you know? And so in that case, you guys go back to that specific memory and whatever needs to be done to help address it or remedy it, or to heal it, right? That's what you guys do. So I feel like that is the message that I'm really getting here for you guys, because once you do that, you'll be able to move past these anxieties and these fears and this sensation of like being trapped within all of that, you know, because then it's easy to become frustrated with yourself, right? To become frustrated with yourself, thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this again. Like, why do I keep doing this? And it's like, well, instead of asking yourself aggressively, right? Because if you ask a child something in an aggressive manner, they're going to feel like they're being punished, right? So when you deal with yourself, you're dealing with an inner child. So instead, what you can do is be like, well, like it's the tone, right? So you can ask yourself, well, you know what? Why do I keep doing, like, do the 7 whys, like I just said, right? So why do I keep doing this? And then go deeper with it, but be patient with yourself when you do it. Okay? Because it feels like you guys are trying to, like you were trying to restore the place that you were at, or trying to maintain it, but just like shakily, you know, it's like you're like, if you're like pulling a cord and you naturally would pull it this way and then pull it back, pull it this way and then pull it back. And this time around, you pulled it even further than you've ever pulled it before. And now you're trying to maintain it. But the pattern is that there's always a little bit of a pullback, right? And so because you're trying to maintain it, it's like your hand is shaky and your muscles are strained. You're maintaining it, but just barely. And that's what it feels like you guys are doing with this energy, like with the more positive stuff, with the way that things were before. But if you don't address the stuff that's underlying, this is like, you see how it's on the bottom? It's the foundation. So eventually your hand will give in because it's impossible for that muscle to withstand it, right? So that shakiness is a sign that this is difficult, this is hard, I need to come up with a solution. Okay? So, or I need a break, I need release. Yeah. Okay, so if that sounds relatively like it aligns with you guys, then this is your group. I think maybe you guys may have another group. I'm not telling you to choose this group, but only if you felt called to it. I haven't even done the reading for it, but I just remember while I was shuffling, I was thinking of group 3. Like while I was doing this, I was thinking a couple of you guys may have been drawn to group 3. So if you were drawn to group 3, go ahead and watch group 3 as well. But yes, so let's get into the October messages. Sorry, you guys, I was definitely not expecting the reading to go this way, but you know, divine speaks in the way that it speaks, and that it is not up to me to be like, no, this is the structure, right? It's not about being rigid. Okay. Just one sec, you guys. Let me grab the other cards and take a sip of water. Okay, Next, we're going to be looking into what Divine would like you to your material world focus in the month of October, and then what Divine would like you to focus on healing. Okay, so we have the Six of Swords. Hold on, let me put my hand there. Can you see? I know I've used these cards before, but I just love them so much. I think they're so cool. Okay, the Six of Swords. We have the Five of Chalices, which is the Five of Cups. I hope you're not getting too much of the glare. I'm really trying. Okay. Then we have the Seven of Wands. Okay. We also have the Nine of Pentacles. That came out in the last section of your reading too. We have the Seven of Wands again. And then we have the King of Pentacles. We also have the Ten of Wands. You guys actually got a lot of cards for this. At least I think it's a lot. We'll see. I remember a lot of stuff falling out for you. The Six of Wands. You have Death again. The Devil card again. By the way, in this deck, Death and the Death peeked out, but I kept shuffling, you know, because it didn't fall out. And then like a bunch of cards fell out and it was Death, and then I picked it up after shuffling, and underneath it was the Devil, and in the stuff that fell out, and I was like, of course it was, you know. Then we have the World. And the Five of Swords. Yeah, a lot of this is ego stuff, you guys. And ego is not, it shouldn't always be a triggering term, because ego is not just about being egotistical or mean. Ego is also our fears, right? It's our insecurities. Then we have the Seven of Swords. Okay, and then these are going to be kind of like final, message cards. I wasn't planning on revealing them now, but I guess I will. So you have Panda. Create a sacred space for yourself in your home and or place of work. So I'll put this here. And then we have Roadrunner. Keep your sense of humor and don't take things so seriously. Okay. I know this is a weird way of structuring the reading, so or like laying out the cards, but okay. So what is the material world focus for the month of October? Honestly, because you guys also have the Six of Swords on the bottom here, right? And on the bottom of that, you have the Seven of Cups. And whenever I see this Seven of Cups especially, it really does give off the sensation of being overwhelmed. Stressed and overwhelmed and feeling like there's too much to do. But the Six of Swords, you see how there's a light at the end over there? The Six of Swords is movement. It is movement into a healing place, into a better place, okay? So I feel like the material world focus is going to be the healing. So you guys are people who do the work, but I'm seeing you guys also as being super stubborn, okay? Stubbornness is that rigidness that we're talking about too, right? And if you're being stubborn, it's like, you guys know how to be flexible. You know how to do it. But I feel like your default is stubborn. So like if you stop practicing flexibility, you become like stubborn. I keep like during your reading the whole time, I keep thinking about this example of the body and muscles, and not just muscles, but like, have you heard of fascia? I think it's spelled F-A-S-C-I-A. I could be spelling it wrong, but it's like something in your body. And it's like when you move and stretch and move around and stuff, it's healthy and whatever, but if you don't, it starts getting weird and tangly and a lot or something like that. I don't remember the details, but that's what I keep seeing. So maybe look into that, the concept of that, because that's what I feel like it's kind of like about the mobility of your life. But yes, so with the material world focus, I do feel like it is going to be a little bit of a battle for you guys, okay? So what I mean by that is exactly what we talked about in the previous section of your reading. I'm seeing that a little bit, okay? It feels a little overwhelming because it seems like you're trying to maintain the progress that you've made. I feel like there's more focus on money and material world, like material world stability, okay? Like maintaining the material world, the physical world. But the emotional world is just as important, and that is the reason, like the subconscious, right? That's emotions. That's where we hide certain traumas. That's where we hide certain emotions that are too painful to think about or to look at or too uncomfortable or that we judge, that we think are like too ugly or inappropriate. We hide all of that in the shadow, right? So I feel like it's going to be a bit of a tightrope for you guys. It's going to be a little bit difficult to maintain the balance, because I'm seeing you guys still like holding the, like I was giving that example with the shaky hand, like you guys are still holding the fort, which is a good thing in your material world. But like the emotions, I see you guys trying to like be a little bit more vulnerable. But again, it's like I'm getting that resistance again. The Seven of Wands are giving me such resistance vibes. Almost like, I don't know what she was talking about. Like, I need to prioritize this. This is important. And like, how can I not be scared about money right now? How can I not be scared about this right now? And it's like, I'm not telling you, or how, like, if I focus on my fear, I'm only going to create more fear about it. And then I'm going to create lack, and I'm going to lose this shaky hand progress. And it's like, I'm not telling you to let go, right? It's more of I feel like this is a little bit of an inner battle. This is the resistance within you that has kept all of those things in the shadow for a reason, right? That's why I was saying it feels like stuff that Divine is guiding you towards doing is like releasing the ego a little bit, because the ego is our self-defense mechanism, right? So that's why I'm saying it's not always just somebody who's like self-absorbed and whatever. It's our self-defense. So when somebody lashes out, or like maybe they're being a little aggressive, yes, you can say they come from the ego, but there's a reason why they're doing that. Their self-defense mechanism is like always triggered. Why is that? Right? So I feel like with you guys, these are certain emotions or things or feelings that like you have moved past, and it's a little hard for you to kind of accept the idea that they still live within you, because you guys have done so much work and all of this stuff. So it's like, again, it's still there, you know, but try to be gentle with yourself. Try not to be too frustrated, because the truth is life is a healing journey, right? Just like in school, when you learn about World War II, you'll learn about it in like 5th grade, right? You get an introduction to World War II. And then once you go into middle school, like you get another introduction to World War II, but with a little bit more details. Then you go into high school, another introduction of like another class about World War II again, but with more details. Then you go to university. And again, like some people just have a whole like semester of a class specifically on World War II. So it's all the details, right? That's the same thing with healing. It's like the first time you do it, you take a little peck. The second time you do it, you take 2 pecks at whatever it is that you're looking at. It's like every time you go back, there's more detail. So it is a life's journey. I know it's a frustrating thing to hear. You don't have to be fully healed to receive the things that you want or that you're looking for. But healing is going to be just part of your life's journey. So try not to be too frustrated with yourself with the fact that these emotions are still there, because that frustration is acting like a barrier. And it's also hurting you too, right? Because that means you're judging yourself on some level for still being that way. It's like you should have gotten over it already, you know? So try to release that so that you can get to really understanding where these emotions are coming from so that you can let them go. Like the spilled water here, you can mourn it again, let it go, and then keep moving forward into these beautiful 2 full cups, right? So that you release what doesn't serve and you move forward into that brighter future. But I see, since this is the material world focus, I see you guys doing that, okay? So that's good. So just know, like, whenever you start feeling a little bit of resistance and all of this stuff, that's okay. That's literally normal, okay? It wouldn't be affecting you this way and challenging you if it wasn't challenging, you know? So there's a reason why you suppressed it for so long, okay? And then what divine would like you to focus on healing? Give me one moment. Let me just take another sip really quick, you guys. Okay. Okay, so it feels like part of the way that divine wants you to focus on healing, because we did have the devil card again here, right? This is that, those insecurities, those fears. And I'm getting the word burden, okay? Being a burden. So with this 10 of Wands and the 6 of Wands, it almost feels like the idea that you have to take everything onto yourself, that you have to be stressed, that you have to feel burden, right? Like you have to carry the weight of everything to get to success. It's about aloneness, okay? The choice of doing everything, the choice of doing things alone, because otherwise you would feel like a burden to somebody else. Yeah, because even whenever I see the 5 of Swords, it makes me think of ego. And if you look at the 7 of Swords card, look at that. It's like everybody else, it's like on some level there could even be this judgment that it works out for everybody else, but I keep having to do things the hard way or whatever it is, you know, or it just seems to be natural for other people, but for me, for some reason, it's hard. And it's like, look at these other people. They are a group. And I think on some level, you guys also isolate yourselves, right? Like these people are a group. And so like they are going straight and forward, and you guys had different experiences and you're a little different from all of these people. So you feel like you don't belong or you don't fit in or you can't be on the other end over here, because that's the way that you grew up feeling. And I feel like on some level for some of you guys, it's a karmic thing. Okay, so it could be traced to a couple of past lives. And you know what? I'm thinking of doing a past life reading at some point in the nearish future. So whenever that happens, you know, if you guys are subscribed or anything, you can get notified when I post it, because I feel like, I haven't done one in a while, but I feel like maybe we can, I'll see if I remember to like think about this particular reading to see if we can get an answer there. We'll see. But yeah, it's, yeah, I feel like because of that isolation, it's like you keep yourself isolated because you, maybe for example, like your family always got along with each other, and because they had similar beliefs and the way that they went about life and the things that they wanted to do in life were very similar. This is just an example. But you guys were always different, and so you always felt like the outlier in the family. And because you always felt like you were the odd one out, you were already not going to get along with them. It's like you went into the rest of the world with this mindset that everything is going to have to be on you because you don't belong. Okay? And you're like, but what if my line, if I'm next to them right here, my line will cross, because you see how it goes this way so far, my line will cross them, you know, and then I may ruin their path and all of this stuff. So it's like, again, it goes back to being a burden, but it's like, you don't want to bother them and you don't want to make their life worse, or you don't want to impact their life and give them stress and all this stuff. And it's like, it's all about them, right? Isn't that interesting? The idea of being a burden has nothing to do with it's like, it's not about what is helpful to you. It's all about other people. It's about doing what's best for other people, not what's best for you. What you think is best for other people. And sometimes when we go out of our way to try to do what we think is best for other people and try to avoid all this stuff because we don't want to be a burden, what we end up doing is actually being a little bit of a burden. You know, and I don't mean to say it to like upset you guys. It's just the way of it is, you know. It's kind of like you know, it's like if, for example, you started saving food for just in case emergency, you know, and you keep saving that food as a just in case emergency. And like, there are never any emergencies in your area, but you're like, you never know. And then one day an emergency happens and you're like, you see, it happened. And it's like, okay, no, that was a bad example. It's more so about, okay, like somebody cheating, for example, right? Say, for example, somebody experienced cheating, like somebody cheated on them once before, and then the person who was cheated on gets into another relationship. And so they keep expecting this next person to cheat on them, even though this person is not doing that. And then eventually that person cheats on them and they're like, aha, you see? You know, and it's like, well, yeah, because you kept accusing me of doing it and all this stuff. So it became kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So even like with the whole feeling like you're a burden, so you try to overcompensate or whatever, or try to be as considerate as possible, sometimes that can be a little bit like that too, because sometimes people are just like, you don't have to keep asking us permission to take the last piece of food on the table, you know? It's like, we're not eating it, we would take it if we want to. And it may be hurtful to hear this, but it's like, it may trigger these like self-defense things sometimes, but it's important to hear it, because it's like, I'm just trying to convey the message that you don't have to try so hard, right? It's literally like, all you need to do is just do something, even if it feels a little selfish, but it's good for you, just do it. You're going to feel guilty, but then you can talk to your guilt and try to ease the guilt as well and be like, you know what? And not like we shouldn't be feeling, not in a self-defensive way, right? But in a calm way. Because like I said, whenever you're talking to yourself, you're talking to a child. So you say, you know what? I understand that we feel guilty. I understand that we're not used to this, but we deserve support. We want support. So how can we receive support if we don't let people support us? Give them the opportunity. So what I'm doing here is giving them an opportunity to support me by me doing what I've got to do and seeing how they, you know, react to it or whatever. I'm not saying like the food example, like I get, like it's okay to, you know, it was just an example. Okay, it's like for every single plate and piece of last food, like everybody's just talking, nobody's touching it. And then you're like, is it okay if I take this? Is it okay if I take this? Is it okay if I take this? They're just like, yeah. After the first two, they're probably like, really, just eat whatever you want. You know, we're done. But then you continue to be like, but is it okay if I take this? Because what if somebody secretly wants it, right? So it kind of feels like that. Like that feels like what divine wants you to focus on, because that's going to unlock the more stable, like it's going to unlock more muscles for you to be able to stabilize the shaky hand. Okay. The fact that you guys even have Panda here and it's talking about like a sacred space, and just whenever I see this card, I think of serenity. I think of peace, right? Peace is the opposite of fear, in my opinion. Well, kind of, yeah. Because fear is like anxiousness, right? It brings about anxiety, this fight or flight instinct, like paranoia a little bit, you know? So, whereas peace is the opposite of that. Peace is your personal power, right? When we stay in the state of fear, or we keep it in the subconscious, we drain our own energy, or we allow our energy to be drained. Whereas peace is our power. And when somebody makes us feel fearful, what we really do is we trade, because everything's an energy exchange, right? So we trade our peace for the anxiety that they bring. And so the way that light wins over dark is through peace. So it's good for you guys to get like yourself into a more serene state of mind by, you don't necessarily have to meditate, though meditation could help. But I feel like it could be something along the lines of just actually making your space feel more serene. Okay? So cleaning your space, organizing it. Maybe if you can, if you're allowed to do it, you can like sage the space, use incense or something. Or if you can't use anything with smoke or whatever, you can spray like rose water to like purify the energy of the space, right? Something along those lines. Like it feels like just to kind of clean, because once you clean and you declutter, right? Even if you're like, oh, surface level, my room is clean, but it's like, I'm sure you can find some clutter somewhere, even if it's maybe on your phone. Like just to start to declutter your life a little bit, and it will help to kind of remove a little bit of these barriers, obstacles, because really the wall is also like the way that you distract yourself from looking at the deeper thing, right? So as you clear away like the clutter, you're going to clear away the distractions in your mind too. So that's going to bring a sense of peace, because there's going to be a little bit of organization. Things are going to be more simple. Okay. Yeah. And it feels like finding the time in your day to maybe read a book for 20 minutes. Or if you want to do a meditation, you can do a meditation. Or just have like 20 minutes of silence, you know, where you're not consuming like media or whatever. You're just sitting there having a cup of tea, maybe do like 20 minutes of journaling, right? 20 minutes may seem like a lot of time, but I think I know like everybody's different, right? Some people are literally working many, many hours, but if you can carve out 20 minutes in a day, at least a few days a week that you would do that, just to bring some peace into your life, to kind of help declutter. What you're really doing through all of these acts is like, it's like you're just maintaining the peace, right? And it's not a distraction. It brings, like even reading, like it doesn't feel like necessary, like reading would be like an act of self-care, okay? For people who enjoy reading, but it could be like reading a self-help book. Then it's an act of self-care, but it also helps to clear the mind, right? Because you could be reading like it doesn't feel like reading something like a murder mystery or something that has a lot of suspense, you know, because that feels like that does not bring about peace. That still riles up your emotions in a certain way. So when I saw reading, I was thinking more like self-help books, like books on spirituality, books on like mindset, or like something along where it's like cultivating your mind or your emotions or your inner growth, you know, like having a cup of tea while doing that. And then here, keep your sense of humor. Don't take things so seriously. So this is about, like, for example, the things that I was saying, right? And I said that it could be a little triggering for some of you guys to hear. And if somebody else says something along those lines, and like in this state of fear, right? Because you guys, there's this sense of like needing to make progress with you guys, right? It's like I should be making progress, and then adding more stress to yourself because of that. But it's like progress, yes, progress is important. Progress is good. But progress is also peace, right? It's like, okay, I just lost my train of thought. 1 second. Oh yes, keep your sense of humor. Don't take things so seriously. But it's like, it's what you guys are really dealing with is pressure as well. Like that's what it feels like. Like that's what I was saying. Like with the progress, you're putting so much pressure on yourself. And it's like so serious, you know, it's like, I need to be doing this. I need to be doing this because of this, this, and this, and because of the whole burden thing. And because I need to, nobody else is helping me. So I've got to be doing it on my own. It's like so serious, you know, and like that causes stress too. That seriousness is also that rigidness. So that's why, just like with the peace here, right? Laughter is so important. Laughter is so important. A sense of humor is so important to be able to kind of like, so that you're not in this constant state of stress. And if you're in this constant state of stress, you don't even realize that you're stressed because it becomes your norm. You're used to being tense, right? So once you start getting a little bit of peace, you're reminded like, oh my goodness, I've been in this tense state all of this time. So that's what I feel. I feel like that's another thing that they're kind of giving you guys advice for. So like the decluttering, and then maybe watch more, just like I was saying, right? Not to read the stuff like that's like, if you're going to choose reading, it doesn't feel like media consumption though, you guys. So really it's not about watching a show or whatever. It feels like something that's going to clear your mind, not put you in a hypnotic state, because consuming media can put you in a hypnotic state. Whereas things like meditation, reading a book that's good for you on some level, whether it's for your mental health, emotional health, physical, for like self-growth on some level, right? Those things make you focus on one thing. It's a little different from the like slightly zombie-like meditative state of a TV show where you can start feeling those things programming you. This makes your mind focus on one thing, so it clears out the noise of everything else, right? Same thing with journaling. So yes, let me see if I'm getting anything else here for you guys. And you know what? I'm gonna roll the dice for you as well. Oh, so maybe you can like go to a comedy show, you know? And I'm not talking about this being the thing for peace, but just for the sense of humor thing. Maybe you can listen to like podcasts that are funny, or instead of like watching dramas, you can watch like stand-up comedy things on YouTube, you know what I mean? Like things along those lines. If you have like friends that you can reach out to, maybe you can like go play a board game together instead of just going to watch a movie or whatever, but you guys do a game night instead, right? Or something fun, like something like this aspect of play and like ease, right? This is all about releasing that tension, which that tension is that barrier to the emotional stuff too, okay? So it's about releasing that tension so that your hand doesn't have to be shaky. It's the same thing, right? It's like you just need to give in just a little for the hand to be less shaky. So yes. Okay, let's see what the final message is here. You've got the number 12. You have Taurus, 8, but it came out like an infinity, and Mercury. Okay. The 12th house is the house of hidden things, right? So we were just talking about your subconscious, so I feel like there's extra emphasis on that. And then the Mercury, I feel like is your intellectual mind, but it's also about communication, right? So I think this is perfect because this is like the understanding of the hidden things within you, right? So like the asking why, journaling can help, all of this stuff. Like if you incorporate your intellectual mind in a gentle manner as opposed to in a stressed state into trying to understand your subconscious, it'll be a lot more like progress for you. And then with Taurus, what I'm seeing here is like that self-care, that self-love that we were talking about, right? Like doing for yourself, being a little bit more selfish with certain things, specifically when it's good for you. Like if you're still hungry, eat. It's okay. You know, you don't have to feel guilty about having the last slice of pizza if you're still hungry. There are garlic nuts, there are mozzarella sticks, okay? Like people can eat those. You know what I mean? That other person most likely would have just grabbed that other piece of pizza too. I'm not saying be mean. I'm just saying like be less apologetic about you, because anytime that you ask permission for that kind of stuff, you're being apologetic, right? And like, I know this may not be an easy message to hear, but like, I'll be honest with you guys. I heard a similar message to this on some level from a friend a year ago. And it wasn't easy to hear because I also thought like, I was like, oh, I made so much progress, but I guess I'm still in that place and I didn't even realize it. And it's important to know that so that you can start becoming more empowered, right? Like something like, particularly with me, my friend said that I was asking permission all the time to go to the bathroom. Like, she was like, why, you know, like, it's like you're making it out to be as if someone would deny you a basic human need. Or like, and when I ask permission for something, I become so small, and I say it very quietly, you know? And I was like, I didn't realize that I still speak so quietly when it comes to asking for something that I want or need. Because there used to be that fear that it would be denied, you know, or whatever it is. But like, I didn't realize I was still speaking quietly. I thought that I was done with that. Because in my head, it doesn't sound quiet, you know? And then after she told me that last year, I made this the conscious choice of speaking louder. Like, I felt like when like if I would go to a store or whatever and I would ask for help or whatever, I would speak louder. Even though it felt like I was yelling in my head, because when I was talking really quiet, it felt normal sounding to me, you know? So I spoke to what seemed like I was yelling slightly so that I can compensate for that, so that my voice is more heard, right? And instead of asking to go to the, like, if I can use somebody's bathroom, you know, like, is it okay if I use your bathroom? You know, I say, can I, I need to use the bathroom. Like, where is the bathroom? And that was something my friend gave me advice with, right? Because she felt like when she took me to her family, she's like, why are you asking, like, if you are allowed to use the bathroom? She's like, this is the South. We're so hospitable here. So for somebody to like ask something like that, you know, like, and she didn't say it, by the way, I'm saying it like this, but she didn't say it in a mean way. She was very considerate, and it was very eye-opening, because this is somebody that I have a very close relationship with and I love very much, you know? So she said that to me, and it was just like something clicked. Like, I cried for sure, but I cried because I was still in that place, then I didn't realize it. And I cried because, to be honest, sometimes, like, especially, like, I've gotten so much better, okay, so much better at this. But when I was younger, whenever I would receive constructive criticism and compliments and then constructive criticism, I wouldn't hear the compliments and I wouldn't think of it as constructive criticism. I would just hear, like, I can be better, right? So it triggered that a little bit too. And I feel like this is, I think I'm sharing this because I feel like for some of you guys, it's a little bit similar, you know? So the way of doing that, the way of addressing it, is to be a little bit more selfish, is to be a little bit more selfish with your love, with your energy, with your time and presence, right? And I've said this before too, but like, somebody who is a chronic overgiver, because people who think about like being a little selfish when it comes to like self-love, they worry about now being considered selfish, right? Or falling into the pattern of actually being selfish, or like self-conceited and all of this stuff. But people who are naturally overgivers, people who are naturally deficient, right, in this like self-love trait, their idea of overdoing it would be bringing them to the standard line, okay? So don't worry about being considered as greedy or selfish. And the people who consider you guys that way, I think, are just used to you doing everything for them, or you constantly giving to them. And so when you decide not to do that, the fact that they take offense, like, that says more about them than it does about you. Okay? But yes, that was your message for the day, group one. If you enjoyed this read, I know it was like it wasn't exactly easy peasy lemon squeezy, but it's okay. You guys are going to overcome this. The reason that it's coming through here is showing that it's something that you're already on the journey towards getting to, okay? So it's not like you are stuck, because you're not. I'm seeing the movement in October, okay? But yeah, that was your reading. I hope you guys enjoyed, even though it wasn't necessarily the most pleasant sounding. if you guys did enjoy, I would appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. I'd also love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. You know, like, do you feel that maybe you kind of fell into a pattern of rigidness a little bit? You know, are you frustrated that you have to go back into doing that again? It's okay if you are, you know, it's a safe place to share. If I see comments that are too mean or too cruel or like whatever, I delete them. I do. It doesn't happen often, thankfully, you know, I'm grateful for that. But sometimes I'm just like, I feel sorry for this person. Or not I feel sorry for them, right? I'm trying to change the way that I say words, because it's like when you say, oh, I feel this way for somebody, right? It's like you're saying, you're feeling it for them, right? Or like you're feeling their pain. And for somebody who's naturally an empath or whatever, it's like, I don't need to be taking on other people's emotions or whatever. But it's like, it's a little sad, you know, to see people doing that way. So don't worry, like if I see anybody commenting anything that's mean or whatever, if I catch it, so this is a safe space is basically what I'm trying to say. But yes, so feel free to comment if you guys want to share what's going on. Also, if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate if you did subscribe to the channel just so you can get more updates about when the new videos are coming up, and it would be really helpful to support the channel too and support me. And also, if you guys are interested in a personal private reading, custom crystal bracelet, custom affirmation song, or the distant Reiki or whatever, you can reach out to me either through the contacts page on my website or through my email, all in the description box below. And I also have an Instagram if you guys want to say hi on there, also in the description box. But yeah, that's it for today, you guys. I'm excited to see you guys in the next reading, which should be hopefully more cheery and something that a lot of people have been looking forward to. But yes, so a little tidbit there. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, group one. Okay, I'm sending you guys lots of love, lots of light, and I'm grateful that you guys stopped by, that you heard the message, and that you accepted it gracefully. Okay, bye guys, I'll see you in the next one. Hey group 2, this is your group if you guys chose the Kaweco collection or the Kaweco Sport. It's part of the Kaweco collection line. And I'm just gonna show you guys the fountain pen again. Here it is. It's a really cute one because you see it's super tiny, and then you can cap it or post it. It's the official lingo so that it becomes a little bit more like a regular size pen, but this is a lot more like portable. I'm gonna set the pen to the side. Sorry if the setting has changed, as in the selenite has changed. My hands are not decored and they may look super dry. I live in New York City, and the first part of this video was filmed a few days ago, and then a few days later, it was actually yesterday, we had that flooding situation. So my basement apartment also got flooded. Thankfully it wasn't too bad, but the whole floor was submerged in like an inch or something of water. So I was wringing out towels and a whole bunch of other stuff. There still needs to be cleaning. There's a whole issue now. So I wanted to be making videos more consistently for you guys, and it just seems like after this incident, I've had to move all of my furniture. Like I don't really have anything on the floor, but I'm worried that some of my wooden stuff that I couldn't move is a bit damaged. We're gonna have to, there's like water stuff with the wall. It's a whole thing. Again, thankfully I didn't have it as bad as some people, but yeah, right before it's so funny too, like literally right before I started filming your group, I turned around before I was getting, I had shuffled the cards, right? I shuffled the cards then, okay? And I was about to get some water and sit down and start filming, and then I turned around and I saw water pouring in from the door, and I tried to do damage control, and then it started coming in from a wall, and then it started coming in from somewhere else, and it was a whole thing. So yes, because of that, I'm still trying to commit to like putting this out there for you guys, because you have been so sweet about what I mentioned with needing to take the time for myself. And it's like, I just need to overcome this hurdle. And between every group so far, there's been time. So hopefully I could just get everything done in this time segment before I have to rearrange the furniture again for them to do construction at some point next week. But yes, that was a little update, a random update. For I guess those of you guys who chose this group. But yeah, let's get into your reading. Like I said, I technically had shuffled these cards already ahead of time. I'm gonna ring the singing bowl for you guys. Y'all, my hands are so chapped. But yes, so first we're gonna be taking a look at what is it that you guys are, sorry, my hands are, they're chapped, but clearly there's moisture in them because they're leaving behind marks on the table. But yes, we're gonna be taking a look at what are you guys currently experiencing in your life, okay, as an energy check, and then what you have the opportunity to have had, because this is now going to be going up in October. It was supposed to be going up sooner, but you know, everything that's happened. But yeah, like what you had the opportunity, or what there you could have had the chance to really leave behind in September, or what possibly was left behind in September. And then we're going to look at what the material world focus for October is, and what Divine would like you to focus on healing in October. So let's start with the first few. We've got the Five of Swords, the Two of Cups, the Four of Cups, the Nine of Wands, the Page of Wands, the Ace of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Wands. So you guys are going to be hearing possibly the air conditioner coming on multiple times. I'm really sorry about that, you guys. I kind of can't help it. We need the air conditioner to help dry everything out so that mold doesn't form, because like I mentioned, some of the furniture, so it's gonna, basically what I'm trying to say is it may be noisy, okay? But yes, give me 1 second just to tune in. Sorry guys, just a little longer. 1 sec. So it seems like what I'm seeing for this group is there was a lot of stuff going on all at once, okay? The theme so far of this reading seems to be overwhelmed. I don't fully remember group one's reading, but I think there was a concept of being overwhelmed too, but in a slightly different way to you guys. But yeah, for you guys, I'm feeling like there is a lot of like overwhelming things. It seems like there is a little bit of a hard time, or not a hard time, it's like you guys are doing it, but the concept of managing your time, because there's like different categories in your life where your energy and time needs to be given, and you guys are actually doing it, so kudos to you. But it just feels like you're being spread really thin. So it feels a little bit like, even overwhelming doesn't feel like the right word, because it is overwhelming, but what I'm really picking up from you guys more is like you're wired. You know, like when you're sometimes really tired, right? And you're just like literally falling asleep, like you're about to completely knock out, but you keep forcing yourself to stay up because you have to or whatever. And it's almost like your body like slightly breaks for a moment, and you just get this burst of energy out of nowhere, and you're actually like exhausted, right? but you have now been pumped with the second wave of like exhausted energy, and so it's like you become wired. Like that's what I'm getting from you guys. Like there's this sensation of being slightly wired. Yeah, and it's like, what's next? What's next? And it's because you've been handling so much that you're just kind of waiting for the next thing to kind of present itself, or the next situation to resolve, or the next thing to look at or address, or the next person to help, or whatever it is, you know. Yeah, so I'm picking up on that for you guys. So it's almost like, it's not that you guys need a break, like a full-on break, but it feels like it's time for you guys to start getting close to putting on a pause, like a little bit of the pause button, okay? Because it seems like you're gonna be like, well, these things, they need me to be present, or like I've got to get this done, or like I'm starting to get into a flow, or whatever it may be. But it's like, yes, but you need to pause though. Yeah, so that's mainly what I'm picking up from here as like part of the energy check. It just feels like there was a lot going on. You guys were the ones managing it, and now there's this need to yeah, kind of like not necessarily even settle down. It's just, it really feels like a pause, because I don't feel like the overwork is done for you guys. I feel like you're entering into a new chapter of your life. There is going to be a lot more to manage or look at or think about. It's not necessarily a bad thing either. For some of you guys, it's actually a good thing. It's like a productive thing. But yeah, it's like the pause is more so for the adjustment period. It's kind of like pause, take a breather before we dive back in, you know. But yes, now let's take a look at what you have the opportunity to either leave behind, or let's see how it's going to come out now that we're actually entering October. Because I was hoping to get this video out for you guys earlier, but I'm sorry, stuff kept coming up. Okay, give me one moment. So it feels like what you have the opportunity. Yeah, it doesn't feel like, so since we're already technically in October when this video is going up, it's not what you have the opportunity to leave behind. It's more so like things that seem to be trailing into October. So it's not, it doesn't feel like this is something you're leaving behind. Like I said, it kind of feels similar to what I just mentioned with the whole pause, and then you're going to be picking things back up again. This feels like that. This feels like a, whatever it is that you're doing now, there's going to be a pause and you're going to be picking it back up. So I'm seeing a lot of work ethic. It's like getting hard to work, like managing things, or kind of like, it's like you're not 100% in the leadership position, but you're the sub leader. And coming up soon, eventually you will be in the leadership position or something similar to that, you know. So it's like you're calling the shots. You're the one going like, you're supervising where people, like if there's a room and people are like moving furniture or whatever, you're like, no, put it there. Or you know what, it's kind of like a wedding planner, right? So like it's the day of the wedding, and the wedding planner is now telling, or the day before, and the wedding planner is like, move the flowers there, move it there. I don't know how early they plan this stuff. So yeah, move the flowers there, there goes there, and like you're managing everyone and everything, you know. So it kind of feels like that similar type of energy, like that kind of like slightly wired, in control, but it's because this is the new phase of your life. So you're meant to be taking on like that managerial role. Sorry guys, I'm stretching. We were doing a lot of damage control today, so I'm kind of tired. But yes, so yeah, so I'm seeing like a lot of the communication, you know, and this feels like stuff that you are now starting to get comfortable with, to be honest with you. So you're like, okay, I can talk about this, I can, whatever it is. It's like you don't even have to think too hard. You know, like when you first start a job and you've never worked in that field, and so you're just kind of thrown in and learn as you go, and everything feels a little overwhelming, and you're like, I don't know how to do this, but then like a year later you do it like clockwork. So it feels like even with this managing whatever these different things are, you guys are getting to the point where it is becoming more natural for you guys to just take on that more leadership or managerial, if that's the right term, if that's even a word, like manager-like role, or like supervisor-like role. Yeah, so it just feels like that's kind of ongoing. It feels like it's going to be going into October too. And like I said, it's like I'm not seeing you guys getting a real break. It just feels more like maybe you can take a pause for 4 days, or like 2 days, 3 days, 1 days, you know, whatever it may be. But yeah, that's mainly what I'm getting here. Let me see if I'm picking up on anything else. Yeah, even with the Ace of Wands, it's like, again, there's this energy of it being fiery, of it being quick, it being like, okay, you take this there, you do this, you know, or even if it's in your own personal life, it's the energy of kind of like, okay, today I'm going to be working on this, this, and this. Tomorrow I'm going to be addressing all of my relatives to make sure that they feel like I'm communicating with them. The next day I'm going to be doing this, this, and that. Like you plan a schedule, you kind of like put it out there. It doesn't feel super air energy, right? Which air energy would be like it's all in the mind, it's analytical, and that can be overwhelming, and there's a tone of anxiety. There's more, since it's more wands, because you guys have a lot of wand cards, right? Like you have 4 wand cards. It feels more kind of just like energetic, like, okay, next, you know, like there's a little bit of a buzz. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like suffering, like you guys have adjusted. It's not like as if it's your first day. You're already starting to kind of slowly get slightly into the flow of it. And then after you're, you know, like in October, it's just going to be even more comfortable to be in that kind of a place. Because I feel like things are changing up for you guys. You're taking on a new position. Maybe some of you guys are starting a new project, or you're doing some kind of new entrepreneurial thing, or you've decided to start YouTube, or you've decided to, like whatever it is, like whatever this new thing is, you know, it's kind of taking up, it's helping you guys to take a more like executive part in it. But yes. Okay, next we're looking at the material world focus for the month of October and what Divine would like you to focus on healing. So first we've got the 3 of chalices, so the 3 of cups. Okay. Then we have the 4 of cups. I don't know if there's any motion here. Oh yeah, the cloud is moving kind of, and the water is sparkling. We also have the High Priestess. I hope you guys can see it. On the, like from the very slight angle that I'm seeing the camera, I'm not seeing it, but you know, I'm just gonna have the faith. We have the 7 of Wands. Shift it over a little. The 9 of Cups. The Magician. The Hierophant. Ooh, the Emperor. Quite a few major arcanas coming up for you guys. The 5 of Cups. The 9 of Swords. Alia, sorry. Okay. The King of Wands, or the Elder of Wands according to this deck. The Tower, another major arcana for you guys. Yeah, like I was saying, it's like you're already kind of in the process of shifting into this new phase, or you've already shifted into it and you're kind of in the process of beginning it, or being like a step after beginner. You know, like there's multiple, like kind of like a ruler. You know how I'm going to use the US metric system, okay, because, or not the US system of measurement, basically, because I live in the US. But if you look at a ruler, right, and then a ruler is 12 inches, and in between the inches you have the millimeters or whatever it is. And so like you guys are no longer at the 1st inch, but you're not at the 2nd inch yet. You're like 1 or 2 millimeters into, you know, like as if it was a path or a staircase to the 2nd inch. Like you guys are like 1 or 2 millimeters in you know, or like you're 1 millimeter in and you're starting to go onto the staircase. So you're not exactly at 0, but you're not like, oh, at the next step kind of a thing. Okay. Then you guys have the humpback whale. Music is essential to your healing and well-being, whether singing, playing an instrument, or listening. And then you have the cheetah. Get clear on your intention, stay focused, and move quickly to achieve your goals. Okay, give me a moment to see what I'm seeing as well. Okay, so far, at least with these 3 cards, what I'm seeing for you guys in the October, kind of similar to what I was saying earlier in your reading or in that last section, like I'm seeing you guys continuing what I mentioned in October. So like that time management, trying to, you know, like when someone is like, oh, I need work-life balance. And so they schedule in work-life balance. They schedule in a day, like I was saying, like a day where you talk to all of your relatives, a day where you get done, like things done for this aspect, a day where you work on your personal project, a day where you have me time. You know, it's like everything is scheduled, which is why the pause doesn't feel like it's not like you need a full break. It's just you may need a little pause to kind of like stabilize so that you don't lose your footing, you know, and then keep running, right? So that's what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing you guys finding that time to go out, have fun, finding that balance, finding that time to have your own thing, right? The High Priestess is solitude. So it's like planning, organizing, having a day to yourself where you kind of rest and then make the steps for the next thing, right? Because for you guys, you may enjoy planning. And so you're taking those steps. The 4 of Chalices, this is kind of you being like, even this is the thing that's making me think about the planning. It's kind of like this, and this I can fit into this week. This is not something I can do, but I can schedule it for next week. Like something about that, you know, it's like there's this slight like dissatisfaction associated with the 4 of Cups. But here it specifically seems like it has to do with you're just like, no, I can't schedule that in, but I can book you for next week at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like. It's just more of this like planning, booking, scheduling kind of things being like you're serious about this next change or this new change or this next phase of your life. Okay. 7 of Wands, again, that also is giving me that vibe of similar to the 4 of Cups, where you're being protective or you're just like, I don't have time for this other stuff. It's like, again, it's like you guys are just managing it very well, you know? So this is what this is coming through as. You're not going to be taking on tasks that are not practical for you because you just have your own things that you're going to be doing now. You're like, look, I already dedicated a day for family time, for family tasks, you know, and this was my day. Like, I can't help you beyond this, you know, like I've got my own stuff that I've got to manage, like something along those lines. Like, it just feels like you guys are now stricter now that you have a full-on schedule and you're keeping to the schedule. You're like a lot stricter with giving out your energy, your time, you know, your advice. Like specifically, I'm getting like your advice, right? Like your mental capacity. You're not going to be overwhelming yourself with other people's problems. You're like, I love you, but you know, we talked about this issue yesterday. I gave you some advice. You know, I listened to you. I heard you out. I'm sorry, I just don't have the time to listen to this right now. You know, like it feels like there's more firmness here. Maybe you'll say it in a kinder way, but it feels like there is more of a, I'm keeping to it. Whereas maybe in the past, you would have created a schedule, but then like you would have gotten on the phone with someone and you're like, okay, fine. You know, like it's almost like you hurt yourself by letting them kind of you ended up prioritizing them over your own schedule that you created in the past, okay? But you guys are not going to be going through that again. Like this is you guys are in the new beginning. We already talked about it, okay? You're not starting, you're in the new beginning. Let me see what else I'm seeing. Oh, I could really go for some ice cream. I have ice cream in the freezer, you guys, and I'm just like salivating now. Okay, the Nine of Cups, again, it kind of just feels like, oh, even the Magician, right? The Magician is the master of all the elements. The Magician is the one who manages everything perfectly. There's this perfect balance because they know how to master all of them, right? They know how to use all of the tools 100% of the way. It's not just, because if it was just partial, then it would have been, he would have been holding the cup, right? He would have been holding the cup, showing that he favors the cup over the other tools on the table. But all of the tools are on the table. The wand, the sword, the cup, the pentacle, they're all on the table. They're all tools that he has equal mastery of. Perfect balance, perfect management, right? This Nine of Cups, this is like that satisfaction, okay? So you guys have done, I just got chills as I'm talking about this too. So like, I feel like I want to applaud you guys. Congratulations, because you've done really well on your journey. You finally got to a point where you've gotten so much better at actually committing to the schedule, to this time management that you've created. And it's like a fresh start, you know, like you're actually doing good and you guys are feeling it too. You guys are really happy about this. You feel very satisfied. So that's really good. That's your material world focus in October. So I'm glad that you guys are feeling that way, that you're finally feeling good about keeping to your time. And because really you would have been happy before, but the obstacles before were that you would compromise your plans, your time, your whatever it is that you were going to be doing, no matter how good it is for you, for like other people's issues or problems or whatever. And now you're like, look, I'm sorry, because it's like, you get it, right? Problems are always going to come up. It's time for you to pick you. That's it. So you guys get that. What else was I going to, there was something I was going to say, but I'm not recalling it at the moment. We'll see if it comes up again. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing as your material world focus for October. So let's take a look at what Divine would like you to focus on healing. I'm gonna take a sip of water, you guys. Okay, let's see. Honestly, even with what Divine would like you to focus on healing, I feel like this is just something you're already naturally doing. Like, this is not something that's new to you. Like, you guys have already started incorporating this in your life. Like, you guys are doing really, really well. I'm very, very proud of you guys because you're doing very well. You're doing very well for yourself. You're really keeping to, it's like you're walking the talk, right? I used that example a few days ago in a post that I made to let you guys know that I'll be posting this video. But that's what it is. You guys are walking the talk. It's like you've known about the things that need improvement and you're working on doing that. Even if it's a little bit of a slow progress, even if it's just a tiny step, a milli step every day, you're taking that milli step and you know that it's going to lead to a result. So you're doing really, really good. You're not supposed to be taking leaps and bounds. You're doing it in the right way. Like, everything you're doing is perfect. So what I'm seeing here, like what the cards are really talking about is it's like taking on this leadership role, right? It's a form of empowerment for you, because before there was this mindset of like playing small, right? Just like we were talking about over here with before, like you guys compromising. Well, I'm getting chills again. Like before, you guys were compromising because you were accommodating other people, right? And when people do that, it's like you now make that person or another person more of a priority than yourself. You're saying that their wants, their needs, their immediate, like whatever it is that they're going through is more important than what you're going through, right? So that was an issue before. So like before, it would be overwhelming. You were overwhelmed with other people's requests or even their energy around how they associate you, right? Like their energy of their approach to how they communicate with you or how they are energetically around you, right? Like before it was an issue. Before it like forced you guys into a corner. Before You felt like there were no other options or choices but to listen to these people, but to help these people, but to do whatever it is that needed to be done, or something, but to prioritize them over you. Because it was always an emergency. It was always something, you know? And even here, it's like, it always felt on me, not always, but it seems like what it is that you wanted was unavailable to you, because you had to keep dealing with this family stuff, because you had to keep dealing with these other obstacles. Specifically, it feels like this is coming through as like family stuff, or like people who energetically mooch off of you, or like they're looking for your advice, or they need your help, or whatever it is, or they're looking for you to be this way so that they can feel comfortable, right? Almost like a parent that's like telling you that you should be in college, not because it's something that would make you feel good or it's something you want to be doing, but they're saying that because it'll make them feel at ease, or they're like, you should be a doctor because they can brag about it later, and you know, they're like, oh, doctor is the best kind of job you can be, you know what I mean? Something along those lines. So on some level, it almost felt like that was reality. It felt a little broken, like you see how the cups here are broken. And like whatever it is, like the happy life or the dream that you wanted, that may have been either a little bit more, like something more than what they were making out to be, like what you should be, I guess, was on the other side of the river, and it was just not accessible to you. That's like it's something that was not for you, you know, like a giving up kind of thing. That's past stuff though. That's stuff that you guys are overcoming. That's stuff that you guys are taking steps and healing in your subconscious mind now, because we've got the King of Wands, because we've got the Emperor. We've got these kind of like, these are powerful cards. The Emperor and the King of Wands are doers. And it's funny because even here, the king that you're represented as is the King of Wands. Again, you have that wand energy, just like in the beginning portion of the reading, right? There was a lot of wands. Wands is fire, it's passion, it's fired up. And the Emperor is associated with Aries, right? That's another fire sign. So there's a lot of fire energy here. There's a lot of drive, a lot of passion. And it's not that you guys were couldn't do other things that you wanted to do before. It's just that energy, that drive, that passion was being drained out of you because you were putting it everywhere else other than the things that you need for you, or to accomplish what it is that you want, right? So again, you guys are overcoming this. This is something that was kind of like a core belief, or a core like engraving. It feels karmic. It's something your family has gone through, all of them. Like all of the relatives would probably be like, well, I felt this way too, you know? It's kind of like when people are saying like, who felt like a black sheep, and everyone will raise their hand, because the truth is everyone, regardless of who they are, will probably have felt like a black sheep in their family most of the time, almost everyone. Okay. Even the people that you would be like, what are you talking about? I was the black sheep, you know? And it's like, well, on some level they felt like they were too, right? So it kind of feels like that. So your whole, like, I feel like the family would still be like, well, I had to deal with this too, you know, and they're going to make it seem like it's not that big of a deal or not that big of an issue, just because they had to overcome it too, and it had to be suppressed within them. But clearly that is not your story. You guys have bigger things in store for you, and more happiness and fulfillment in store for your life, because you guys are actually going to be going for those things that make you feel good and happy. And they feel like, again, like these are the Emperor and a king, right? Supervising roles, like, and they're masculine energies here. So masculine energy also, there's a sense of authority with masculine energy. There's a sense of leadership with masculine energy. Okay, we're not talking about the genders here. We're just talking about masculine energy. Women who are more leaders, like, you know, and like planning and like in big executive things, they're more in their masculine energy, right? So it's just natural. Like a sense of direction is more masculine, whereas flow and going with the flow is more feminine. So there's more masculine energy. There's, like I was mentioning earlier, more executive energy. So you guys are doing well. Like you're meant to be doing this. So you guys are getting into that point. With the Tower, this kind of feels like Divine also wants you to, like, again, this seems like something that's naturally happening. It doesn't feel like that big of an obstacle or anything. But with Hierophant, it's kind of like going with the flow of where you're being guided to. And with the Tower, it also feels as though this has to do with kind of like being able to manage redirection, right? So like if you could have been stubborn about doing something one way, maybe when you were younger, like now that you're older, you're like being stubborn about it is not going to help, and it's only like me doing it this way and only this way may take me 12 years to get it done. But if I choose to kind of submit a little bit here and just redirect and replan a new route, because it's like you're not replanning the whole road, it's say like you're on, like this is the end goal, right? And you started here, so you get here and now there's like an avalanche, right? Because you were just going to go straight through and you're like, oh, but now there's an avalanche. Well, I can keep climbing up because straight through is the best way. You can avoid danger if you just keep going straight. Or instead of like taking 12 years to get over this avalanche and get to here, you could just walk around. Like you're like, okay, you know what? New game plan. I'm going to walk this way, and then continue straight, right? So it's like you're still making the decisions, but you're also being flexible with your approach. So you didn't compromise the whole road. It was just like a little turn to get back on the road, right? So that's what it feels like also. Now let me get into these two cards, and we're also going to get the dice ready for you guys too. Let's see, get clear on your intentions, stay focused and move quickly. With the cheetah, again, this is giving off such fire energy, so I think it's pretty funny that you have a complete opposite here with the humpback whale. You guys, I'll tell you in a second, but which is water, right? But I just gasped because I realized last night, like I woke up from a dream where this guy was like, there was a whale carcass, like of a baby whale, like a whale calf. I think that's what they're called. I don't know. And it wasn't even a full carcass. It was just the skeleton. And like, you could see that its fin was broken. And this guy who decided to help like the king or whatever, or the prince do something, I don't know, it was a whole thing. That's not important. But he took like some random fish, which also was a bone. It was like the skeleton of the fish, which was a weird fish. It looked like the skeleton of an octopus, except I don't think octopi, yeah, whatever, have skeletons. So he took it and he was going to put it on the, like almost like a fin for the whale. I don't remember if they have those, kind of like a dolphin has one on the top. And the skeleton of the fish was like, no, I don't want to. And then he talked to it and he's like, come on, Jeffrey, be help. Like, he's like, you know, you want to help. And then Jeffrey, the octopus fish thing, skeleton, was like, okay, yeah. And it smiled and it just jumped onto the spot he wanted it to be. And he put his hand on the skeleton of the tail, and the part of the tail that was broken started growing the bone back to make it a full tail. And then like, it's like magic was going around this whale while he had the hand on it. And it like got its flesh back and it got its skin back, and it was like energized and super healthy. And not only was it like back to life and like fully formed, but it also started growing into an adult whale. All that being said, it's funny that I'm seeing a whale here, but it was really fascinating, and it could fly. It was a flying whale. I don't know. So with the whale, I also feel like this whale is kind of talking about your energy, to be honest with you, because same thing as here. You see how this rabbit is like cowering. It's like shrinking, right? You guys on some level, even here, like the cups being broken and staying broken, feeling like something better is inaccessible. Or like not seeing how that could happen, right? It's everything here is about being small, and now with these executive roles, it's about being big and wide and open, as opposed to like crunched up. Like the whale is the largest animal or mammal in the world, right? So it's the same thing here. It's like they're talking about your presence, like being quick and energetic in that sense, but also like having such a big presence and energy and role in whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, I feel like this is all about the empowerment of you. You guys are already on the right path. You're doing really, really well. And this cheetah is also reminding me, remember how I said you guys don't need full-on breaks, but I'm seeing like taking pauses once in a blue moon, right? Like a little pause just to kind of settle in so you don't lose your footing. So cheetahs have to be very calculative of the moves that they're going to make, because yes, they're one of the fastest, or they are the fastest running mammal, right? But They also lose momentum quicker because I guess they're like putting all their energy into that speed. So they have to be calculative of their target and their approach so that they don't just burn out at some point. Like they're not just going to keep running along the side, you know? They're going to wait to see like when is the right time for me to pounce and run and get them. So it's the same thing here, just like we were talking about, like the planning, like you guys having all this stuff with planning and timing and all of this, it's like you guys are fermenting and you're fermenting very well, you know? Like that's what it feels like. So even these just feel like words of encouragement about your presence, about like this like you're doing good planning. And I think like you have an idea of your goals and you're doing good here, but this feels more like in the future, like pace yourself. I feel like that's why they're talking, like I was mentioning the pause, right? With like pausing so that you don't just keep running and accidentally trip over your foot because you got tired for a second, right? So you pause, you kind of catch your breath and then keep running. It's not a full-on break. It's just a little pause. Same here, right? It's like you take a pause to calculate the next steps and then keep moving forward. And even this is again, like you guys are finally coming to a place where you're no longer playing small, where you're starting to come from your true energy, your true source, and starting to get a little bit more comfortable taking up the space that you should have been taking up all along, okay? Because all these other energies, all these other people were putting in all of their energy, all of their aggressiveness, and making you guys shrink so that they can be bigger. So now you guys are like, you know what? I'm not a little rabbit pressed up against a corner. I'm this giant whale. And like you're growing because you're like, the swords are not actually piercing the rabbit, right? They're just scaring the rabbit into like, we need your help, we need your help. And it makes the rabbit feel like there's this sense of urgency. But the truth is, if the rabbit starts standing up, the swords are just going to move back a little bit. Because the aim is not, they're not really here to like kill the rabbit. They're here like, look at this, like I need your attention right now, right? So yeah, I think you guys get the gist. Okay, let's get the final message here. Oh, the cards. All right, we've got the number 16, 7, Venus, and Aquarius. Okay. 7 is the 7th house. It's also Libra energy. 16 is the Tower. Interesting. You got the Tower energy twice. Then we have Venus and Aquarius. So Aquarius is about change. So it's really funny, right? Because Aquarius is about unique ways of getting things done, right? It's innovative. And it is ruled by Uranus. So what it says is change is the constant. The only constant thing about this is change, right? That's the only constant thing that we can rely on, is the fact that things will always change eventually. So it's funny because it's similar to, because you got the Tower here again, right? And then change here again. So it's funny because that's exactly what we were mentioning with the Tower and like this whole little road. It's like, yes, now that you're starting to plan things and things are going good, don't be, I'm not saying be like super like water, you know, but it's almost like don't be caught up in the fact that things may change or things may not exactly go as planned, or sometimes things may have to be rescheduled once in a blue moon now that you've gotten into your whole like, this is my schedule, I'm sticking to it, you know, or like this is my approach and that's it. Like there's still gonna need to be like, it's not about you guys becoming too rigid, right? You're still going to have to come up with compromises. You're still going to have to kind of think on your feet. You're still going to have to come up with alternatives every once in a while. So I think there's a reminder of that, right? Don't try not to be too stubborn about the path that you have chosen, because it doesn't mean that it's the wrong path. It just means that maybe you need to take the tiniest detour and come right back onto it. But that detour is part of the progress, right? Because if you didn't go this way, and then back on the road, maybe there was a market here or like a bathroom, and no bathroom down this road that you had chosen initially, right? But because of the avalanche, you found out there was a bathroom here. So, oh, I could take a bathroom break and then keep going, right? Or, oh, I can get some water and then keep going. So the little detours are actually good for you too, because as long as you're doing what you've got to be doing. So those detours, try not to get too like frustrated with them or kind of like instantly think like, how can I keep doing exactly the same thing I'm doing? Try to see like, is this showing me something else? Like maybe I can focus on something else and then keep moving forward and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's what I'm getting with these two. And then with these two, with the 7 and Venus. The 7th house is ruled by Venus. Funnily enough, I was going to say the 7th day is ruled by Venus, but that is not true. Friday is ruled by Venus. But give me one second. What else am I getting here with these two? With Venus and the 7th house, this is kind of making me think of not romantic partnership, but partnership in general. Kind of like we were talking about, like delegating tasks, right? Like taking on a more managerial role. That's what it feels like with these two. I'm kind of getting like that whole, like Libra is the diplomat essentially on some level, kind of, right? Because of that balance, and like they're able to like, so people can associate sometimes Libra being a diplomatic person. So these two are Libra associated, and I'm just feeling kind of here, it's almost like now that you started doing all of this stuff, don't take everything on yourself, right? If there's some little thing that you can delegate or you can hand over to someone, or you can, like someone offers to get help and you're just like, no, it's better if I have everything under my control, right? Because even these things, even this is talking about trying to have control over everything, and then realizing that sometimes you've got to be a little flexible or kind of surrender and stuff like that. So even here, I feel like it's also talking about that, like maybe you may need to eventually get somebody's help or advice, you know, or input in something. And you don't have to completely alter everything that you're doing, but it's almost like partnership is kind of part of this journey for you. So you are going to need to delegate at some point a couple of things, because it's not about like this road of you or like going up the mountain would be you guys trying to do everything on your own, whereas doing this would be you guys going like, okay, fine, I can take somebody's help with this particular area and then keep moving forward with the rest of my original plan, right? So it feels kind of like that. But yes, that was your reading, group 2. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, I would appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. I'd also love to hear from you guys in the comments down below if you feel like sharing. And if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, there's no pressure to do so, but I would appreciate if you did subscribe, as it does help support me and the channel and all that jazz. Yes. Also, I know I'm not wearing my stuff, but I do make custom crystal bracelets, and I do private personal readings and custom affirmation songs and all of that jazz. And I also do Reiki. I can do distant Reiki or like in-person Reiki as well. Those things will be updated on my website, but if you're interested in any of those things or have any questions, you can reach out to me either through the contacts page on my website or through my email all in the description box below. And I also have an Instagram if you guys want to pop in and say hi over there. I'm constantly in the process of working on being consistently proactive on Instagram, but social media was always something that I kind of had a little hard time being consistent with, I'll be honest with you, but I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. But yes, so that was it, my spiel. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and I'm really grateful for you guys being here. Thank you for being here, and I'm really proud of you guys for all the stuff that you've accomplished. Good job. You've got such a beautiful, bright road ahead. Okay, so October is good. It's good to look forward to something, even if there may be a couple of little roadblocks that are actually the perfect detour for you, okay? But yes, that was your reading, group 2. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm sending you guys so much love, so much light, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, group 2. Hey, group 3, welcome to your reading. This is your group. If you chose this these pen scissors, I'm not really sure what they're called. If you guys are interested, I think I'm gonna see, I think I bought these on Amazon, so if I can find the listing, I'll put it in the description box below. But these are scissors, yes, very cute, and they are as compact as a pen. So yes, this is your group if you guys chose this. I'm gonna set it to the side. I'm gonna ring the singing bowl for you guys. That was relatively quiet. For those of you, I can speak. For those of you guys who are wondering about some changes in slight changes in scenery, like the selenite being different, my hands not being as bejeweled as before, possibly looking crusty and dry and stuff. There was like a whole kind of rainstorm from a hurricane passing by, flooding thing happening in New York City, and thankfully it wasn't too bad, but we had experienced some flooding, and like I had some flooding in my basement apartment, to the point where like all of the floor was covered in water, but thankfully, like I said, it wasn't too bad as some people experienced, but a lot of stuff is disarrayed. There's water damage things to the wall and stuff, so everything's a little discombobulated. I have to move a lot of things. I can't sleep in my space yet because the mattress and everything needs to dry, and they're going to be doing construction. It's a whole thing, but basically that's a very long-winded way of saying why things look different. I'm hoping this is not going to affect my videos, because I was hoping to start being able, like I ended up, this video was late because of this issue. Like I was going to film and have it up for you guys by Friday, but then as I sat down to start filming group 2, it started flooding in the apartment, and as I was trying to like manage it, another area started flooding, and then another area, and then I was just like, okay, I just need to save what I can save off the floor and like lower parts of the apartment, and do damage control the next day, which is what happened. Like I kept coming back to like try to clean. You guys, my hands, I know this is gonna sound so privileged, and it is, but like my hands were not used to that kind of work, because I don't have like a real mop, I have a Swiffer, but my hands were not used to that kind of manual labor. I was using full thick towels to mop up the, like soak up the water, and they were really heavy because they just took in so much water, and so hard to like get all the water out to put them back down. And I was doing that for a few hours, and like my hands are just, it's a whole thing. Basically, I'm done complaining. Okay, let's get into your reading. That being said, that's why you may not see, like I'm hoping to possibly do another video the next week, and that's why this video is kind of late, but yeah. Okay, first we're going to be looking at what are you guys currently experiencing. That's going to be an energy check for you guys to see if this is your group or not. And we'll also be looking at what you have the opportunity to leave behind in September. So, or this is going up in October, so we'll see how that section goes. And then we'll be taking a look afterwards at what you are going to be focusing in the material world in October, and then what your what Divine would like and your guides would like you to focus on healing in October. Okay, so let's start. We've got the 10 of Pentacles, Pentacles, the 4 of Swords, the 8 of Cups, the 5 of Pentacles, the High Priestess, the 5 of Cups. I don't remember if this one, because group 1 was filmed before the flood, a few days before. So I don't remember if this came out in group 1, but this definitely came out in group 2 as well, in a different place, but still. The Chariot, the Queen of Cups. Yeah, I had like a brain fart. I was like, what is this? What is this card? Ooh, interesting, interesting, interesting. So we'll look at your other cards in a moment. But okay. Give me one moment, guys, to see what I'm seeing. Also, I may be drinking tea because my feet were submerged in cold water for quite a portion of yesterday, and I'm hoping not to come down with something. And I'm currently in the apartment, my apartment, so things have dried up, but like I have to have all the windows open and the air conditioner on to prevent mold, to help things dry out faster. We were doing it with the heat, but then like a construction guy came in and was like, though the heat helped like to kind of get rid of stuff, he was like, no, this isn't sunlight, this will give you mold. And he was like, you can only have fans, air conditioning, and open all the windows and the front door and everything. And I was like, oh my goodness, okay. So basically it's cold here. So yeah, that's why I'm back to you guys. I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to be whiny or complaining. Okay. I'm not, in my head, I'm not complaining. I'm just sharing, but that's not the point of this video. Okay. What are you guys currently going through? Just give me one more moment, you guys, to see what I'm picking up here. Okay. Honestly, what I'm seeing here, not for all of you, but for some of you, I'm picking up on cutting ties with family. It feels like family or people who could have been like family, so like old-time friends or connections or whatever it is. It feels like you guys are on some level, whether it's energetic or just kind of like actually in the material world, there's this sensation. It's not necessary, and it doesn't have to mean, like I said, this isn't for the majority of you guys of it being so intense, but it's like the sensation of cutting ties with relatives and family and stuff, because it seems almost as though, oops. I don't want to touch this stuff with, okay. Sorry if the camera got shaky there. Let's see if I can stabilize it. But yeah, it feels like you guys are cutting ties or making your way towards cutting ties, because what I'm really seeing is you guys are going on a journey of independence, okay? It's like you guys, it's for freedom. It feels like you are doing this for freedom. Though they supported you on some level, it's like there was this pressure of doing things their way, or like they would give you all this input or whatever it is. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe you had a supportive family, but there just seems to be, so like I said, the cutting ties doesn't have to be like I'm never talking to you again. It just feels like you guys are going your own path. You're going your separate way. And even though the separate way may be bumpy or rough, or, you know, you may be worried about money, you may be worried about other things, it's like you're still going to be handling or doing it on your own. And that is something that you've been wanting to do before. Like maybe before they would give you input and advice and you're just like, thank you for the input and advice, but like I have an idea of my own way of how I want to do it, and you couldn't do that before with them. But now you're kind of left to your own devices, or like you're in this place where it's kind of like it is down to you now. And it is scary, and it is kind of rough, and maybe you don't have the money, or maybe you don't have the time, or maybe you don't have what you feel you need in order for you to feel okay. But it is also an opportunity, because now you're going to be building it up or doing it on your own, independently, in a free way. Like it's really down to you guys now, okay? And this is part of your healing. Being able to now get back up after kind of feeling a little bit of a loss, or a little bit of a being pushed down, or a little bit of a being down in general, being like getting back up. And even though you're kind of doing it on your own, you feel a little out in the cold, you feel a little unsupported, or like worried about the future or the outcome, or whatever it may be, because this is a general reading, right? So for a few of you guys, it's going to be worrying about the outcome. For a few of you guys, it's feeling unsupported. For a few of you guys, it's going to be a combination of the everything. But yeah, so that's what I'm picking up for what is currently going on for you guys. It feels like you guys are walking a path alone right now. And it's the path you guys are supposed to be going on. It feels kind of lonely. It feels kind of cold. It feels kind of like, I don't know, it feels unstable or shaky. I don't know where the money is coming from. I don't know where the solution is coming from. I don't know where the next thing is coming from. You know, you don't see the path ahead in this card. Even here, you don't see the path ahead. You're just kind of walking forward. And because you're walking forward, you're going to get to the location or the destination that you guys are supposed to be getting to. It's just as you're going there alone. It's your first time doing this completely on your own, without the support that you're used to. You know, like maybe the people that supported you before can't support you anymore, right? So, or the places where you were getting help from, you can no longer get help from, because all of this time you guys were meant to have had a sense, like a certain type of independence. And now you guys are finally getting to that kind of a place of independence. It's just, it's a rough place of getting there. And anyone who goes on that journey is always going to go through this rough spot on their own first too. So you guys are just, or most people, I guess, not everyone, right? We can't talk in general, but most people. So you guys are kind of going on that path now too. So you guys have come to that place too. And it feels like for you guys, it was a long time coming. Like maybe this is something that like would have been regular for you guys to do a little earlier, but like with you guys, it took a little bit longer than most people, or than a lot of people that you guys are aware of at least, or know of, okay? But yes, that's the energy check. And then what you guys have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of September. Give me one sec. Actually, give me like 3 seconds. Honestly, what this feels like more than anything is the idea that it's almost like the reminiscing of having support, right? It's like not being upset about having to handle things on your own. Because really, these 3 cards are telling me alone. You're doing all of this stuff alone. You're doing all of this stuff alone. You are here sitting alone, reminiscing of the past when maybe you were with your family, or when you were with people who were supporting you, or where you were with people where it was technically easier before you had to take on this journey of independence that maybe is unshaky, or that is taxing because it requires for you to do a lot in order to support it or sustain it or to keep moving forward, right? So there's this sense of like being on your own. So on some level it's lonely because, like I said, this person is doing it alone. Even though there's 2 people here, I just see this person, right? The glare is kind of blocking this person out, and it's like this person walking the path alone, okay? And even with the 5 of Cups, there's this sense of like looking at the past, which is where that difficult stuff is, as opposed to like the potential here and stuff. It's like you try to stay optimistic and positive, but there has been a lot of maybe in September reminiscing on when things were a little easier and all of this stuff, because there's just this constant reminder that you guys are on your own now. So it feels like that is something that in October is going to be you're going to be able to kind of shift gears and just start focusing more so on the path ahead. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for this section of your reading. So let me get into the other cards really quick. You guys, I'm doing such a paradoxical thing. I am drinking hot tea, but I am also eating ice cream. So I just realized I took like a bite of ice cream, but now I'm taking a sip of tea. It's probably not good for your teeth, right? The change in temperature. But yeah, I just realized like after I was going to take that sip of tea, I was like, huh, this kind of feels counterproductive here. Okay, next we're looking at, just a reminder again, it's going to be the material world focus for October, and then the healing focus that Divine would like you to focus on in October. We've got the Emperor. Okay. We have the Sun. The World. I'm showing these cards to the side because when they're under direct light, there is a glare. Okay. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles. The Five of Cups again. The Nine of Swords. The Seven of Pentacles. The Two of Swords. The Eight of Swords. The Four of Wands. The Hermit. The Tower. Then we have the Unicorn. Indulge your creative, imaginative, and magical side through some form of artistic expression. And the Meerkat. Get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. Okay, give me a moment to see what I'm seeing. Okay. So it feels like in the month of October, the material world focus. Remember how I was saying it's almost like you guys were focusing on the past and when things were good, and now the fact that you're on your own, all this stuff. So it feels like you guys are starting to kind of get a little bit more productive. It feels good, like that being on your own. Because look at all of these these are all major arcana, and then this is a queen. That being on your own has now become an empowering thing in October, okay? Now it feels like you guys are tapping into the real possibilities that, like, if, for example, you guys have your own space now and you're worried about money, right? Now you're tapping into the real possibilities that having your own space can bring you. Whereas before, maybe the reason that it felt lonely and all this stuff was because you were doing the setup and whatnot, right? Or, again, whatever this path is, because when I saw this card to me kind of felt like distress over money or monetary things, or like that panic or anxiety of like, how am I going to do this? Because before you had some stability, you had some support, you had some kind of a backup plan or a backup line, or like something behind your back saying, if you fall, I've got your back, right? Like a physical presence. But it feels like there are going to be a couple of, I don't want to say scares, but it kind of feels like, and like any kind of turbulence that you may experience, because you are very well aware that you are kind of on your own handling this, you're not getting any other support from the people who used to be able to help you before. Not really, right? Because this journey is meant for you to be walking on the path on your own for now. I feel like whenever those kind of obstacles come up, there's this energy of like distress or worry or panic, or kind of like, it feels like going a little bit regressing in the sense of like, how am I supposed to handle this? How am I going to overcome this? But at the same time, like this feels like just a couple of times, you know? So it's not the whole month. It's just like a couple of sporadic times in the month. But overall, like what I'm really seeing here is more of an optimistic look, more of like utilizing the home in the way that it's meant to be utilized. Like taking charge, taking responsibility, finally getting things done the way that you wanted to. But maybe because before, like the first stepping stones of doing that independent route or route or whatever required you to like declutter, right? And the declutter kept you from being able to really live up to the idea of why it's great to have an independent path. But now that you've kind of decluttered enough or whatever, it just feels like you guys are going to kickstart on the beauty of independence, the beauty of having your own space, the beauty of having your own business, the beauty of being your whatever other thing that it could be, you know, like those are the main ideas that come to mind, to be honest with you. But whatever it is, like whatever that new beginning is that you kind of have to, like maybe it's the beauty of being a single parent, like whatever it is for you guys, okay? It's like you're finally starting to see the beauty of it, the potential of it, and you're starting to go into that potential, and you're starting to take charge, right? So I'm still feeling like an underlying a little bit of like distress or it's almost like everything is now good on the surface level, but right underneath the surface, like no space at all. This is like the anxiety that's ready to like burst out if it needs to. So like you guys are trying to maintain the calm and cool on the surface, but there is like those fears still at the bottom or in the subconscious or like right underneath the surface, which is okay. It's normal. Okay. But yeah, that's really what I'm getting for your material world focus, to be honest with you. Like, it just feels like now, like if you wanted, say for example, you wanted your own space so that you can do your own arts and crafts, or so that you can run your business better, or so that you can do this or whatever it is, right? Now that you have the space and you're worrying about like, how can I afford the space? Like, how can I afford an office? How can I blah, 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 blah. And it was all about organization. So you couldn't even utilize the office for that space that you were hoping to utilize it for. But now you guys are going to start utilizing it for that space, and it's going to start feeling good. So that's what it feels like. That was a very long-winded example of trying to get the point across of what I'm trying to tell you guys. But yes, I hope you guys get it. Now let me take a look at what Divine would like you to focus on healing. Give me one moment. Okay. So what Divine would like you to focus on healing is exactly the thing that we were just talking about in the rest of the reading previously. The Two of Swords, the Eight of Swords, the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is still somebody waiting on like this one is kind of giving off the vibes of like, I'm kind of worrying, I'm waiting for things to come in, but because they're worrying, like things are not flowing as easily. Like things are coming in like pennies as opposed to like dollars, right? And it's just like, I'm a little worried about that. This Two of Swords and Eight of Swords is also kind of the sensation of like being trapped, being undecided, not really knowing what to do. It's like, it's just, again, it's all mental. It's mental stress. It's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But if you had come down and kind of like come up with a plan and just stuck with it, you'd be able to sort of dig your way out, right? But it feels like you guys are still, like, this is what we're focusing on, healing, right? So what Divine would like you to focus on healing. So yeah, that's part of it. I think maybe this, like the fact that you guys go to this distress, right? Because you're handling it on your own. They're like, we don't want you to go to distress, right? You're used to having this kind of, it's like this, there is a beauty in handling things on your own, but you don't always have to be alone too. You know, it's like you guys, I feel like, are isolating yourselves in your mind because of, you're like, well, nobody can come when I need them this, nobody can do this, but you're kind of forgetting about the times that people did come, right, to help you. So even though you are meant to be doing this on your own, it's like you're meant to get help here and there, right? You're not alone. So I think that's kind of the thing. It's like realizing that even though you're doing things on your own and you're meant to go on this independent journey, you're not alone. Just because you don't have the same type of support, it doesn't mean that you don't have support at all. Right? So it's kind of like coming to that place of realizing that, yeah, you still have support. You have people that you can call if you really need their help, and they will come and help you, right? It's just a lot of things you're going to have to, like, there are things that are unfamiliar, that are uncommon to you, that you're going to have to handle on your own. And with this Tower card, it's giving me a similar vibe to what I was mentioning with here, like a sudden change appearing, a sudden discomfortable thing. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to handle it, right? And because again, it's like there's that instant, that's what they're asking you to heal, right? That instant thought of panic before being able to calm down and all this stuff. Because I feel like for you guys, that panic becomes a little too consuming, or it's really, really draining for you guys. You have a lot of air energy coming through here, like a lot of mental activity coming through. So that means that your thoughts and your immediate logical and thought responses are going to be more powerful on how they impact you. So like that like stress of like panic is going to impact you guys more than some people who have like earthier energy. So yeah, so that kind of feels, yeah, you guys have a really quick reading. Yours feels pretty simple. So that felt like very much to the point, like it's that simple. And I guess maybe in the past, something you guys could have dealt with is overcomplicating things. And so now part of this journey is like, actually, it's a lot more simple than it seems. Actually, just because you have to take just because you have to drive on the road alone doesn't mean you can't call a friend if your tire pops, right? So you're not really alone. It's just in order to really learn how to drive, you have to be able to drive in the car on your own. But it doesn't mean that there's no one there to support you, because if you need gas or if you need something, like literally the person who loves you will come, they'll bring you the gas, they'll help push the car to the gas station if need be, whatever it is. Like there is support. It's just you still have to be doing things on your own. So instead of going into that place of like, oh, I'm alone in this, or like I can only rely on myself, like that's not necessarily the case. You can rely on other people. It's just you're meant to be doing certain things on your own. That's part of the journey of independence. Right? But you are not alone just because you're doing it on your own. You get what I mean? Okay. And then let me look at these other two cards here really quick. Give me a moment. Oh yeah, exactly. Get support from trusted group of like-minded friends. From a trusted group of like-minded friends. This feels exactly like that car example I was giving you, where like your friends may not be able to be at your house every single day, but they can come when you need them, or maybe once a week or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with that support. Like, yes, you're meant to be doing this on your own, but you can have a companion every once in a blue moon come in, or like if you really need help figuring something out, you can call somebody to, you know what I mean? Like this feels exactly like what I was just mentioning. And then as far as the unicorn, like I'm being drawn to the fact that there's almost like this halo around the head of the unicorn, like the horn is shining, right? It's like you may not be able to see the full road ahead, but as you take each step, because you have the horn shining, like it's like illuminating the first, like the next couple of steps or the next step forward. You're not sure what the next unexpected turn may be, but you can see the next step ahead of you, right? So like you guys you're doing good. You're on the path you're supposed to be. And I feel like even this card is talking about, like, remember I was saying like if you were renting an office or a studio or something. So maybe like try doing some more creative things. The reason that you started this independent journey, like indulge yourself in that a little bit more. So whether it's because you wanted to be able to be more creative, whether it was because you wanted to be able to start dancing whenever you want to dance, whether it was because you wanted to be able to paint or make pottery. Pottery is like my forever example now, at least it feels like the last few months. Whether it's because you wanted to play music undisturbed, you know, whether it's because you wanted to be able to eat food without other people's input. I don't know. I'm thinking of examples, like I can't, you know what I mean? Okay. So it's like, whatever that thing is, like try to indulge yourself in doing it 1 or 2 times in October. You know, because I think it could be good for you guys too. To kind of show you like, this is really why this was why I did this, you know. Let's get the final message here. So we've got 9, 7, the Sun, and Scorpio. No, Virgo. Okay. Virgo, Sun, 7th house, number 9. The number 9 is the Hermit coming up again. So again, it's this kind of like journey. There is a sense of solitude with the Hermit because, the Hermit, oh my gosh, exactly what I was saying with the unicorn, right? Traditionally, the Hermit card is this man in a robe with a beard, and he's holding a lantern, this lantern, right? So it illuminates the road ahead of him, and he gets deeper input, deeper insight. The unicorn, I was just giving you that same message, like the horn is illuminating like the next step. And it's coming in from the 3rd eye chakra, right? Which is that deeper insight. So the fact that you guys have the number 9 here, 9 is also Virgo. And 9, Virgo is the Hermit. The Hermit is Virgo. It's represented by Virgo or Virgo, whatever. Virgo is associated with the Hermit. So interesting. So that's double Hermit energy coming in there too. And yeah, the Sun coming in with that positivity, and now things starting to turn up, right? Things like turn positive is what I mean by turn up. And like I was saying, it's almost like you guys are finally starting to get to do the whole reason why you took this journey, you're going to start being able to kind of do it. The 7 is, again, talking about the relationships in your life, realizing that you're not alone, even though there are certain things that you're going to have to do on your own. Okay? So like, don't isolate yourself or feel like you have to be isolated or whatever it may be. Okay? If you feel like your friends show up but your family don't, find ways for that to be, like, for there to be a solution. If you feel like nobody shows up, well, maybe you're not calling the right people. You know what I mean? Maybe when you actually should be calling for help, you're not, but when it's something that you don't need help for, you call them, right? So maybe try switching that up too. But yeah, with all that Virgo energy as well, Virgo is about planning and taking action, and it's about being methodical, and Virgo also is hardworking as well. You know, Virgo puts in the work, does the steps, whatever the necessary steps are. Virgo will do that as well. So it's almost like, again, it's, I feel like really the Virgo is giving off more of that hermit vibe. Okay, you guys are on the path, you're doing what you've got to be doing. Just try not to get into this panicked state. And if you start getting into a panicked state where your anxieties feel overwhelming, really ask yourself, like, why is that your default? Because yes, it's normal for people to feel panicked or stuff, but like for it to get this intense, you know? And yes, you may know the general reason, but try to go a little deeper with it. Because you're like, oh, it's because of this person, or because I was raised this way, or because of whatever. You don't want it to be blaming, right? Because just knowing doesn't mean, like, it turns on some level of like blaming it on this person. But go into it deeper to understand why your emotions go there. Why it, like, I recommended the 7 whys technique in so many of my videos because it, for people who are unsure of how to go deeper, that is a way of doing it. Because the first few answers, like the first few whys, you're going to be getting answers that you already know. But then when you ask, and why is that important, or why do you feel that way, or whatever, and why is that, or whatever it is, you know, then the last couple of times, to get like the 6th time, the 7th time, maybe even the 5th time, but especially the 6th and 7th time, that's when you get deeper to like tracing it down to a specific memory, not just a vague thing like, oh, it's because my parent was like this. But it's like, no, you trace it down to a specific moment that your parent was like this and why it mattered so much to you in that instant, right? And then you're able to address it from there, when you're able to really see the exact dot, right? Like if you write on a chalkboard, right? You write on a specific section of a chalkboard, but now you need to clear the board so that you can solve the next problem, and you can't solve the next problem until you clear the board. But you take the eraser and you're not looking, and you just start erasing the board in general, you're not going to get the whole chalkboard clean because you're not looking at the specific spot. You're just erasing the chalkboard, sort of, you know? But if you look at the chalkboard, you're able to see where the chalk is so that you can erase it. So the 7 whys is a way that you guys can look at the chalkboard to see where the chalk is so that you can address it, right? That final whys. You don't have to do that, but whatever it is, the technique is to get to that source material, not just the general area of where it's coming from, but the source of it, at least in the present moment. Then you're able to help heal that, right? Or like erase the chalkboard properly in that place. Okay, but yeah, that was your reading, group 3. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was kind of a weird, abrupt ending, but that's kind of all I've got for you. Okay, I know you can do it. You are capable. I have faith in you. You are able to do this. You're doing well. You're doing good. You made the right decision to have this independence. Okay, and I know that you know that too. So things are going to start turning up. It's just kind of be conscious, or remind yourself of the things that we talked about a little earlier in the reading, okay? But yes, if you enjoyed this reading, you guys, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. I'd also love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Are any of you guys in New York? Did you guys also experience any issues because of like the rainstorm. I know a couple of other places were hit too, right? I think like Connecticut, and like a couple of other places possibly. And I know there's flooding issues going on somewhere else too. So like, are you guys okay? Are you guys safe? Also, if you guys are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If not, no pressure in doing so. But if you would like to help support the channel, and to help support me in doing these videos too, I would appreciate if you did subscribe. But again, there's no pressure. You're not obligated to do so. You know, I'm not going to be like, subscribe to my channel. Only if you want to. But yes, and that way you'll be updated whenever I post new content. Also, for those of you guys who are interested, like I mentioned in the intro, I do make custom crystal bracelets and custom affirmation songs, and I do private personal readings, and I will be offering distant and in-person Reiki shortly. In person, if obviously you're near enough to where I live. Distant, if not, that'll be a service that will be added to my site relatively soon. And I've got other plans of things that I'm thinking about providing too, but for now, if you're interested in those things or have questions about them, you can reach out to me on the contacts page on my website or through my email, which are all in the description box below. I'm also on Instagram if you guys would like to say hello on there. And that's it. Yeah, that's it, group 3. That's all I've got for you guys today. Okay, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for coming to this video, for coming to my channel, for all of your support and patience with my absence and all this stuff, and just for being here. You know, I'm so grateful for you guys, and thank you for showing up for yourself by clicking on a video that's aimed or geared towards where maybe you may need healing as well, in addition, like as opposed to just clicking on October predictions. You know, it takes commitment and courage. It takes courage, strength, and basically it takes guts, right, to do what you've got to do for you, no matter how uncomfortable it is or how much you don't want to look at it, but to kind of bring yourself to a point where you're like, okay, eventually I'm gonna have to look at it, or force yourself to get there. You know, so you guys are doing good. Okay, but yes, that's it for today, group 3. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sending you guys so much love. Okay, so much light, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, bye, group 3. Hey, group 4, this is your group if you chose this beautiful pastel pink TWSBI Eco. I'm gonna open the pen for you, even though it makes absolutely no difference, but you know, whatever. Here it is. I don't know if you can see the purple ink in here, but yes, this is the pen. I just finished shuffling your cards, and I got some messages while I was shuffling them. I'm gonna ring the singing bowl for you guys. There we go, nice and loud. By the way, also that feels a little overbearing, which is exactly the message that I got while shuffling your cards. I feel like some of you guys are dealing with an overbearing mother, grandmother, aunt, or manager, or some kind of supervisor. It feels like a woman energy, like a female manager or supervisor or something. Even if it's like a cousin for some of you guys that may be very present in your life, whatever it is, it feels like a female energy, and it feels very overbearing, like very domineering. Okay, you guys have the devil come up. As I was thinking that while I was shuffling, the devil came up on the bottom of this deck, and then it came up on the bottom of this deck. So that is kind of confirming, like, you see how this person is like controlling what these two people do. Like, they're chained to like the power or whim of this person. So it just feels like this is somebody who has taken your power a lot, even though they wouldn't have worded it that way. Okay, so I feel like that person is still lingering around you or is around you. And I feel like maybe we may touch on it in the reading because it came through so strong. Another thing that came through is that you guys, like the word strength, like you guys are strong too. Okay, so don't let people bully you. Out of habit or whatever, or out of the sake of peace, when you know, clearly there is no peace. It's just you kind of suffering or you taking it, you know, because you taking it is not peace. That's like you just being hurt, you know. Also, if you guys have noticed some differences, like the selenite is different, and my hands are different. My nails have grown. Please don't look at them. My hands are dry. I don't have my bedazzlings. It's because in New York City, we had a little bit of a flood situation, and I had a little bit of water stuff going on in my apartment as well. So everything is still off the floor that can be off the floor. The water is gone, thankfully, but there's still stuff that needs to be done, like construction, and stuff needs to dry out and all this stuff. So I am filming this in my apartment, but I haven't slept here last night, and I'm not going to be sleeping here tonight. I don't know when I'll be able to sleep here again. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to be like posting regular again, because that was the goal, to post videos regularly for you guys again. But if there's a little bit of a break in that, it's because of all the stuff that's going on with the construction and all this stuff, okay? But everyone's okay, we're all good. So let's get into your reading. First, we're gonna be doing the energy check to see where you guys are currently at, and if this is your, like based on where you're currently at, like what I say there, you'll know if this is for you or not, right? That's the energy check. We're also going to take a look at what you have the opportunity to leave behind in September. Though for you guys, I feel like whatever it is going into October. Off the bat, I felt that. So yeah, just letting you know. Then the material world focus of October, and what Divine would like you to focus on healing in the month of October. Let's dive in. So we've got the High Priestess. A lot of the same cards are coming out in like different versions, different varieties, different places, different meanings. Ooh, okay. We have the Five of Swords. The reason I said ooh is because of the last card that's going to come out for this section. The Three of Pentacles, and you guys, guess what? Guess what? I didn't see this card when it came out, but the Devil. Didn't I tell you? Ooh, it came out 3 times for you guys. Wow. Don't be scared. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar with that, it's not a scary thing. At least it's not a scary thing in your reading. We've got the Queen of Wands, Judgment, the Emperor, ooh, and the Star. I saw the Star peeking through in one of the other things, and it wanted to come out. I don't think it did. If it does, when we look at the other cards, let me actually take a gander. It didn't come out, but I saw it peeking through in one of the other decks, and I kept shuffling, so the Star made itself known here too. So just, you know, mental note. But yeah, give me 1 second. All of this is major arcana. This is a major arcana. This is a major arcana. This person that we're talking about is karmic. They're a lesson for you guys that you're meant to overcome, okay? And then the Queen of Wands, so that's a powerful card too, right? Like Queen of Wands is not like a regular minor arcana card. It's a suit. It's a person. It's a court card. That's the term. So this whole row is major arcana and court cards. And remember, I said this is what you guys get to leave behind in September, but it feels like it's trickling into October. Like it feels closer. I sense October with this. So this is like powerful, because whenever it's so many major arcana cards, it's usually like divine, right? The universal timing, the universal like will, or whatever it may be. So give me a moment just to see what I'm picking up here. Yeah, I feel like you guys may be facing aggressiveness from, if not now, like it could have happened a couple of days ago, or maybe around the time that you're watching this reading. Like I'm sensing you guys have like faced aggressiveness from this aggressor that we were mentioning, like this and it feels like a feminine energy. It doesn't have to be, because this is a general reading, okay? So it can be a father, it can be a grandfather, it can be another type of manager, boss at work. Like, it feels like somebody who has a prominent position, you know. So like I said, mother, grandfather, father, grandfather, those are those are prominent titles. It's not like a cousin half removed, you know what I mean? Same thing with mother, grandmother, like, or like a manager, supervisor, whatever it may be. For some of you guys, I guess it could be a friend, because like I said, this is a general reading. But for the majority of you guys, it does feel like either a female boss, or like I said, like a mother, a grandmother, or it could be an aunt, I guess, for some of you guys. But it felt, the initial thing that I was picking up on was feminine, like a female person. I guess it could be like a guy who has a very feminine energy too, and being the aggressor, but I'm just telling you what I initially felt, which was like a female that is very aggressive and controlling and domineering, okay, and pushy. But like I said, it's a general reading. Applies as the descriptions are what matter most here, okay, like of the person. Not the gender, but yeah. So that's what I'm picking up on. I feel like their energy is still kind of lingering in the air. There's a lot of like stuff to do with your ego that is triggered by this person, and their ego, like they're acting out of their ego, okay? And it forces you guys to kind of like retreat, or I think like in the past, it would have been like about you guys retreating, or you guys trying not to be triggered, right? You guys trying not to have your ego triggered. So, ooh, it's getting really chilly, so I'm just gonna pull these down. The sleeves, I mean. Yeah, so yes, like I said, for a lot of you guys, it could be like a work-related thing, like a manager, supervisor, or something, because this environment also kind of gives off work vibes for me. Or it could be like a professor for those of you guys who are in school, because this could also be a school. If you guys go to like a church or a synagogue, it could be, well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know too much about synagogues. I think there's only rabbis there, but like if you're going to a church, it could be like a certain type of pastor, or like somebody at church that maybe has a prominent, or even at the synagogue or mosque or whatever, like a person there that if they're not the actual person like leading the sermons or prayers or whatever, then it would be like somebody that maybe has a little bit more power within that community. Like, yeah. I just feel like there's a lot of negative energy around this person, and it's like, it's so funny, right? Because if we stick with the church example, okay, it's like, it is so funny because this is a church. They're constructing a church, and then you have the devil here, which is part of, that's why I say let's stick with that. And then you have the high priestess, which, remember, the priest is really like the person for churches, right? And she's got a cross here, so like there's just all these aspects of that. So it's almost like you guys naturally have this energy. So if we're using just the church example, okay, it's like you guys naturally have this heightened energy, this spiritual energy, this natural connection. So you don't always have to do things the standard way, or the way that like this other, like this aggressor who's in a position of a little bit more power than you in the material sense. They're used to things going their way, or they're like people telling them like, oh, you're right, you know, like they're the ones that people praised, or they're the ones that people were like turning to for advice and whatever. And whenever they give advice, the people are always like, you know what, I tried your advice, it helped, or like, you're right, I didn't think of that. You know, people go to them for solutions for and all this stuff, and then they praise them. But you guys, you have it naturally. You don't need them. You don't feed into that same dynamic that those other people feed into with this person, and it triggers their ego. And so now it's like they've got a problem with you, and you're just like, I don't understand why you keep being this way. Like, literally, do you see yourself? And they don't see themselves, and that's kind of the issue. And I know this is like such a super specific example, but try to see how it can apply for you, because if I went into every example, like the family dynamics, I think that may take some time for me to kind of come up with. But yeah, so it's almost like, it's not that you guys did anything wrong, it's just you guys are here with this sense of like independence, right? Because you're not relying on going to them like other people are. You have your own way of doing things, and ultimately you are also connected to God. It's not about the ego stuff, because they're stuck in the ego. That's why they're being represented by the devil. That's why the ego card is here too. Whenever I see the 5 of Swords, I think of ego. Okay, so it's like they are the ones stuck in that. Let me just confirm something. One more second, guys. Okay, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to confirm. But yeah. Yes. And like I said, whoever this person is, person in a position of power. So that's why I was saying supervisor and stuff. But yeah. So because you guys have your own way of doing things, your own approach, because ultimately you're like, look, at the end of, because if we're using the church example, ultimately you're like, look, we all are here to worship God. We just have our own ways of doing it, you know? This person is like, well, like they don't know how to respond to that, and so it triggers them. So they're like, well, that's not the way we do it in this church, you know? And it's like, I like the people here. I'd like to keep going to this church, but do you have a problem with me coming in on the days that I feel I'm meant to come in, as opposed to coming in every Sunday, for example, or me like doing my own little prayer with a I don't know what people do in church, you know, like with a candle or something, instead of, you know, doing it with 3 candles and like a prayer from myself and the Pope and priest or whatever, I don't know. And you know, like it's something along those lines. So I feel like you guys are dealing with like an ego battle. So with somebody else. Okay. I feel like I've exhausted this a little. So let's move on to the next phase. Like what it was about releasing in September, but I see I almost said October again. So yeah, give me 1 second to pick up what I'm getting here. Okay, in this card in particular, I felt very drawn to the fact that, like, there is a black cat here and it looks kind of grouchy. But when you look at this Queen of Wands, her energy is so much lighter and brighter and like of the light. Then you guys also have the Star here, right? And then the fact that the High Priestess was representing you guys regardless of gender. Same thing with the Queen of Wands and all this stuff. So it almost feels like you guys are a lot more light and higher vibrational than this other person. And you guys are not biting. You are not budging to their thing. Okay? And it's almost like what I was saying in that example where like they have nothing to respond with, and so they keep being grouchy. You know, they're like, well, we don't do it like that here. You know, it's like, okay, you know what I mean? So I feel like that is also them kind of like you are being this like higher vibrational person and just like, are you okay? Are you done? Like, is everything okay at home? Like, why are you being this way? And they're just like, they have nothing to say. They're like, like they're just frustrated, you know, but they're kind of like looking down because they literally have nothing to say. So they rather just like be a little grumbly and be like, oh, okay, whatever, blah, 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 you know, and look at the floor. So, but they're not walking away because there's no reason to, right? So I feel like this is also like a test for you guys, because it is funny, right? You have the High Priestess versus the Devil. So whoever this person is that is really trying to get you to worship them, to get you to come to them, okay? they are, they're not really gonna succeed. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, you guys are standing in your own power, and you see how much greater her presence and her energy, just by the size of her body compared to this cat, how much greater her presence and energy is, right? Even here, like the star, this is such a beautiful card to have here too. It's like a symbol of hope and balance, and there is peace because there is balance. Like, water is being poured here, but also here. Like, nurturing both aspects. It's not just like falling into being too emotional. It's also on some level on the earth, right? And then the Emperor is like, again, it's like this is a king on his throne, but more so it's an emperor, which is all the kings embodied on his throne. It's like this is the most stable you can be, a sturdy figure. Where does an emperor belong? On a throne, you know? So it's like, you're not moving. You know what I mean? It's not that you're stubborn. It's just, you're not going to surrender. You're not going to give in to whatever little mind games or tricks or whatever weirdness that this other person is doing. But somehow this all feels like a karmic lesson for you guys. Just like I said in the beginning when I saw that devil card, I was like, it feels like a karmic thing for you guys, like a karmic lesson. Like, they're going to try to manipulate you guys, or like, you know, whatever, for some of you, or like use you guys in like a little play around their chess piece, like they were able to do with other people, because how many favors they've done for other people, or how great they are, you know. But all of that was ego. All of that was a lie. It wasn't genuine. And that is now going to start being revealed if they don't surrender, like, to the will of God, and to like you guys, like, if they don't surrender this quest of like trying to get you on their chessboard. And because you're not getting on, they're being aggressive towards you and like having something against you for no reason, right? So and I feel like they're not going to, and because, or like there may be a point where they have to, but they're going to be like, their disguise is going to be revealed to other people if they keep persisting on doing this, okay? And you guys are ending a karmic contract with them by not giving into this kind of a thing, okay? Wow, this is a very interesting turn of events with this reading, because I never thought that I would be like oh, there's somebody doing this, you know? I mean, I'm not trying to like fear monger here. I'm not saying like you guys have anything to be, because you literally don't, right? I'm seeing you guys being empowered, but it just made me think of a reading that like my mom showed me, or like a friend. I don't remember if it was my mom or a friend from like one of those readers that does like readings for Geminis or whatever, you know, like where it was a monthly, or like it was a video, but they do it by the zodiac sign, not like pick a cards. Anyway. Okay, next we're looking at what is your material world focus in October, and what would divine like you to focus on healing. So we've got the 6 of chalices, so the 6 of cups. We also have, why am I doing it like that? There we go. We also have the Queen of Swords. Yeah, you guys keep being represented by queens and the High Priestess. A lot of feminine energy. So remember I said in the beginning, you guys are strong. Like I got the word strength. Like even here, it's like spiritually, you guys are strong. Psychically, you guys are strong. Mentally, you guys are getting stronger too, to be able to kind of discern, differentiate. You have the Moon. Okay. The 2 of Swords. The 8 of Wands. The 9 of Swords. This came out for one of the last 2 groups. I don't remember which one. The Ace of Wands, the 6 of Wands. Oh no, I don't think I shuffled enough cards. Hold on, we'll see. The Magician. Oh, I did, okay. The Queen of Pentacles. The Moon again. And we just had a full moon, actually, which funnily enough was when the flood stuff happened. And the Eight of Swords. And it was Mid-Autumn Festival, or I may not pronounce it correctly, but like Chuseok, I don't know. For Korean, for Mid-Autumn Festival, for Chinese, I forgot what the word is for the Japanese. And like also, oh, actually also, it was the Jewish holiday Sukkot, right? So a lot of holidays yesterday. Okay, then we've got the elk with stand tall and maintain your dignity no matter what, and others will treat you with the respect that you deserve. What the heck? This is exactly what we were talking about with that other person, and you guys like kind of standing your ground, right? And others will treat you with the respect that you deserve because you respect yourself. But I was already saying you guys are not budging, but this is the opposite of what is going to be happening with the other person. Like people will see, oh my goodness, that goes you go right here. That's where you go. That's exactly where you go. Okay. Then we've got Tiger. You are being called upon to provide leadership, so trust that you are capable of doing so. Oh my goodness. Yes, how the tides have turned. Like these actually, I feel like I'm not even going to have to touch on these later because these go exactly with sort of what we were just talking about, right? It's like stand tall and maintain your dignity regardless of how this other person is treating you right now, okay? And like we already talked about kind of like the example scenarios, right? And like people are going to end up turning to you once the truth is revealed. Because when this like you guys are maintaining that calm or working towards continuing to maintain that calm and that inner peace, right? But like this other person, because they're so persistent about it, it's all going to be revealed. Okay. All right. So now let's take a look at the other cards here. Give me a moment. Okay. Yeah. With the material world focus, it's like, for example, right? If we go back to the church as being an example, that like person who was represented by the devil card, say they were the person that everyone went to at church, but now you show up in church and you naturally have that energy of the real, like, because they were doing it out of ego because they wanted people to like them, to praise them. They wanted to be like seen like as the highest whatever there, you know, loved by the church or whatever. But you guys show up and you are just you, and you naturally have that energy of like knowing the right advice to give, all of this other stuff. You're naturally kind to people because you're authentic. That's just who you are. Okay. And this person is bothered because they were imitating being that, right? And people are going to naturally notice. So people may like feel you out at first, and they may, because naturally they would have come to you for advice anyway, because like I said, you have that energy, that vibe. So like now that people are going to start doing that, that person is going to get triggered because they're like, oh, you're stealing my clients, you're stealing my customers, you're stealing my church people that worshiped me. You know what I mean? And so like you're here, like, I'm not stealing anyone. They came to me for advice and I helped them. Was I supposed to turn them away and send them to you? They came to me, so I offered them help, right? So it's that kind of thing. So like for you guys in October, it feels like these are all beautiful cards. This is about like standing your ground, being level-headed, like being above it all. With this Queen of Swords, it's like you see, I know the trees are in the distance, but here we'll pretend that she's just that tall, okay? Like it's like you really are above it all. That's why I said the other thing feels like it's bleeding into October too, because here it is again. The moon also, it's like here it also feels like it, like I was saying, it's this like test for you guys, right? A card, like a cycle test. But here I'm seeing you guys being kind, being level-headed, working on not letting this bother you, okay, with this relationship, this situation with this other person. Because people are going to be turning to you. People are going to be switching sides because the truth is going to be revealed. So yeah, this is such a weird reading. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't mean to be like commenting in a negative way on your life, but it feels like it's not something that I expected to be doing. That's why I'm saying it's weird. This isn't what I was anticipating on doing in a healing focus video, you know? But like, hey, this is somebody's reality right now. So, and again, at work, it could be the same thing. Like people kind of turn to you over this supervisor who has been like exploiting you know, you or like other people or whatever. And it's like, they're like, maybe these people, like the supervisor is like, oh, you know, group 4 didn't do their work today. And like, it's almost like they're talking shit, you know, for no reason. Like they're saying things that you're like, what do you mean? I let you know like 3 weeks in advance that I was going to take a leave of like take a sick day today because I had to go get, you know, a checkup that was unavoidable. Like I had no other way. So I gave you a 3 weeks notice, you know, and you completely approved it. I have the email proof, but you're saying that I didn't do my work today. It's like, yeah, because I wasn't at work, because I was at a checkup, you know, that was important, that couldn't be rescheduled, yada, yada. So it's like this person is like trying to start like some kind, like slowly, because they don't want people to see them as negative. You know what I mean? I wouldn't worry about them talking negatively, but like, don't think now somebody is walking around talking poorly about you. Okay. This is not meant to like make you start being like paranoid about other people or like what somebody could be saying or whatever. Okay. It just feels like it's a little energetically messy. Like this person is just trying to get people to be on their side. Okay. And that doesn't mean that they're necessarily pinning people against you. Don't worry. Okay. But yeah. Sorry, you guys. This reading is a little funny to me, only because this is the type of reading that people expect psychics to give, you know? And on some level, whenever I see stuff like that, it kind of feels fake or phony, because it's just like, this is the stereotypical thing you would see on TV, you know, like, oh, the drama of it all. But that's the only reason why I'm like thinking this is so funny or this is weird or unexpected, because like this is what I'm picking up here. Like I didn't really think I'd be giving this kind of a reading on YouTube especially, but here it is. Again, don't worry, you guys have nothing to worry about. This person can't affect you. Just keep doing you, keep being authentic, keep coming from your higher power self state, okay? Because like I said, for those of you where it's about the truth being revealed, the truth will be revealed. For those of you guys, even like when it comes to relatives, right? Like if it's a relative who's manipulative that we were talking about, it's like the rest of the family will finally see it soon. Or like the friends that, you know, you guys had mutually will finally see it soon. They'll see like, oh, you know what? This person's child or grandchild or niece or whatever is not actually like that. They were just kind of saying it just because, you know what I mean? Like it feels like a little ongoing here. I feel like on some level, it's about you guys maintaining a strong suit too. Because even here, she's like calm, cool, and collected. And like I said, you guys are going to be trying. It doesn't mean that that stuff is not going to affect you sometimes though. Because I am seeing it affecting you here. It's almost like in private, like it's like you're holding up a strong face and you're like, that's fine. You know, they'll be like, ha, how does it feel now that I stole your client, you know? And you're like, that's okay. The people who are meant for me will be for me. And that's it, you know? And then you're like, have a good session. I hope you guys have a great session. Enjoy. Okay. And then you'll go into your room or whatever, and then you'll cry, you know, or like you'll have a moment, like once you're in private and you know it's safe, you'll like possibly cry or be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I need this, this, and this. And like, they keep going there, there, and there, and yada, yada. Right. But it's behind closed doors. So it's almost like, and then you calm yourself down. And you're like, you know what, group 4, talking to self, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to manage. We're going to overcome this. Like Milky said, we're going to overcome this. So we will. Okay. But forget that. That was a joke. But like, really, it's like, we're going to overcome this. It'll be okay. This is just a test. Like this person is just testing you, and no test is going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. So we've got this. We're going to keep moving forward. We're still making progress. We're still moving forward. And it's like your communication game has gotten stronger because like the logic you use is more sound, right? But it's important for you to have a more calm mindset when you're doing that. And then with this 2 of Swords, yeah, this kind of feels like the cross between like this beautiful persona that is your authentic self, but it's also like your strong suit too. Kind of like you maintaining that like shell and stuff, like as if you're not getting to me. Between that and like those little moments when sometimes it does get to you and it's a little bit like, oh, I just don't get why I have to go through this. But then you like pick yourself back up. You know, you don't stay in that place. It doesn't turn into a depression. It's just like, you're like, okay, don't stay stuck here. Don't stay stuck here. Don't let them win. Don't give them the power, right? Because peace, giving your peace and trading it in for anxiety or fear or whatever else, it's not worth it, right? It's not always in our control sometimes, but then once we catch that like wavelength, once we catch that pattern, we're like, oh, I've been trading my peace for this anxiety, for this for this anger, for this frustration, for this ego battle. Not going to engage in that anymore. I'm reclaiming my peace. You can keep your drama, trauma, yada yada to yourself. Okay. Now let's take a look at the healing focus for the month of October. Ooh, an eyelash. Okay, let me get a moment to see. Yeah, the healing focus here as well kind of feels like very similar to what we were talking about here. Remember how I said the whole thing is kind of like a karmic lesson? You're ending karmic ties with this person and like you're ending a cycle for yourself. Well, it feels like that is being reflected here too, where it's almost like this Eight of Swords is talking about this Nine of Swords. That sensation of being trapped, that sensation of being an outlier, that sensation of like, oh, I am this light, but I am stuck here, or stuck in this pattern, or stuck in this ego battle, or stuck in this like this way of how they talk to me, or all this stuff, you know, like this little cycle with this person. It's like, I don't know how to overcome this. I don't know how to appeal to this person and let them know like I'm actually okay, or I'm really not like that, or stuff like that. And it's like, it's not about you appealing to this person. It's about you living your life unbothered because they're going to be exactly the way that they want to be, right? So it's like that part of you, which before may have tried to appeal to the person to be like, hey, like, I'm not a big fan of drama, so maybe we can resolve this. Like, what can I do to show you that I'm not a threat, you know? And it's like, you shouldn't be going out of your way to show somebody that you're not a threat. If they feel threatened by you, if they feel triggered by you, that's their own problem when you're just being your authentic self. Not when you're acting like mean or whatever out of trauma or whatever, or out of your own ego, but literally when you're just being you, like unbothered or whatever, or whatever, you know? So yeah, so that's coming through with the Eight of Swords. The Moon is also like, that's that subconscious thing that we're talking about, you overcoming. The Guardian of Pentacles, so Queen of Pentacles, the Magician, the Six of Wands, the Ace of Wands. This is all about being a leader and like being successful and keeping attention. Okay, getting over the idea of like I think you guys are already working on it. Like you guys are actually pretty okay with it now, but maybe in the past it could have been an issue. Like you guys being afraid of attention. You guys being afraid of being like how that person who was represented by the Devil card, right? That they were the one that wanted all the attention. They were coming from a place of ego. You guys were afraid to be getting the attention because you didn't want to be stepping on other people's toes. So you're like, I don't have to shine, you know, we can all be equals here just as long as, you know, we all like each other and you guys like me and there's no drama or problems, right? But it's like, no, that's not you guys anymore. Like you realize that you are going to have to kind of stand out. The Ace of Wands is also, it's like standing out, direct. The wand is the staff. The person with the staff shepherds the sheep, right? Or the person with the staff leads the people, right? They lead the journey of the hike. The Magician, also a master, represented by the number 1. The Queen of Pentacles, there's that like caring, that essence of groundedness, you know, you're not going to be just uprooted from the earth by somebody's like fickle behavior. And the Six of Wands was where I was getting that whole success thing, you know, being afraid of success and standing out, right? Because that's not you guys anymore. So this is the thing that you guys are working on overcoming, that sensation of like, you didn't call upon the drama. You didn't ask for the drama just because people start looking at you, just because people start giving you more praise or wanting to know more about you or asking you for help or directing their attention to you. It's not because you asked for it that you have it. Maybe when you were younger, you could have asked for it and now you feel guilty because you're like, I asked for this, but you know, I just want people to have peace and whatever. Like, that's an old story. Let it go. Okay. Currently, you did not ask for these people to be treating you the way that they're treating you. There's nothing wrong with the way that they're treating you, the fact that they turn to you, the fact that they want to have advice to you, the fact that they look at you as a teacher or a guide or a mentor or like somebody who's wise and all of this stuff, right? That's just who you guys are. How many cards have you guys had representing you as somebody on a throne? Okay, a lot. So even an emperor, didn't I say, no, that wasn't here. Or was it here? Was it here? It was here. Yeah, like the emperor will always sit on his throne, right? That's where he belongs. It is just stable. That's it. Like, it just makes sense. You guys have that energy of a leader. You have that presence of somebody that is stable, or like that, or somebody that people know that they can turn to or rely on, who will have answers, who can give the good advice, or if they don't know the answer, will help them have the guided, like will help them guide their thoughts to the place where they can get the answer or the right type of advice, right? It is just, that is part of you. That is your essence. Okay. That is who you are. So it's like, there's no more denying you, right? This is just, it's inevitable. So of course you're going to stand out, because when people are meant to be a leader, they're going to stand out from the crowd. People are naturally going to turn to the person who has that leader aura or energy about them, because like everything about that person's energy is saying, you can come to me, I am a leader, right? As opposed to a phony person who's trying to replicate that, but it's really an ego trip. You're not doing it because you're looking for praise. You're genuinely coming from a pure intending place. Even if you may have a moment where you think about like, oh, this is nice, the praise or whatever, you're not coming from a place of ego. You genuinely want to help people, and it's human to have a thought once in a blue moon, you know? So don't like put pressure on yourself. There's no need to like do the whole belittling thing or whatever. This is the karmic cycle that you guys are overcoming with this devil person, right? It's the fact that like, you don't have to make peace. Okay. You just have to be authentically yourself and like peaceful within, and how people react to you is their problem. It's not your job to like bring yourself down a notch to here now so that you can maintain peace. Okay. That's not your place. Your place is up here. So yeah, yes. Let me also roll the dice for you guys. Oh, an eyelash again. What is this? The fact that I'm seeing eyelashes, I feel like is also a sign that your dreams are coming true. What you wanted when you were a child, okay, specifically what you wanted and how you wanted people to react to you, you wanted those things because those were your birthright, and those things are coming for you now. Don't allow yourself to don't convince yourself that you don't want those things anymore, that they don't belong to you, or that you don't need those things when they're naturally your birthright, okay? Like, I'm not saying search for them, but don't push them away, you know, just kind of surrender to that, okay? Boop. Okay, we've got Chiron. Yes, exactly. Makes sense. 15. You guys, the devil is 15. The devil card is the number 15. So you have it come up again. The devil also represents in tarot, enough in general, it's like our fears, our insecurities, right? And when we let them lead the way, like these people, they're actually trapped. Like this represents the fear and insecurity bringing thing, right? And they're trapped because of their fear and insecurities. But if they no longer let this fear and insecurity have power over them, this guilt or whatever trauma they experience that keeps them in that mindset, they're actually free, okay? So I feel like that's what this 15 is representing. 2, okay? 2 is options. You have a choice. Virgo is also considered a healer, okay? Virgo is the virgin and the healer. So you have the choice between going into, and Chiron is the wounded healer in astrology. Also associated with a healer, helping others even though they're not 100% healed, okay? Especially helping people in the area where they may not necessarily be 100% healed, but they're working on it, and as they're working on it, they're helping other people, which is why doing the whole, like, I'm not qualified thing, it would be silly, because it's like the whole concept of this is that you're helping people heal a wound that you personally have, and you're in the journey of healing yourself, like you're actually working on it. But because like this is the specialty that you can help people heal. So why wouldn't you be qualified just because you're not 100% healed? Because the whole concept of the wounded healer is like you help people heal the hurt that you have within you. But as you're doing that, you're also helping heal yourself, right? Like, it's obviously not you just sitting on your butt and like having an ego about it and doing nothing and being like having a God complex in a negative way. You know what I mean? It's you actually working on doing this healing, or like wanting to have that healing and somehow trying to make it work, but you're also guiding people in that direction. So no self, no doubting, okay? Don't do the whole self-doubting thing, or like, I'm not qualified, or I don't know if I'm qualified yet. It's like, if people are coming to you now, that means you're qualified now, okay? If the opportunities are coming to you now, it's because you're qualified now. So it's the choice between those fears and insecurities, which are being manifested in a person who's going to trigger all of that for you guys to overcome as a test, and that healing, that whole individual thing, all the stuff, right? And yeah, look how beautiful that came out. But yes, that was your reading, group 4. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was quite a journey, okay? Your group felt very poetic in the way that it ended up coming through here. I hope you guys are okay with the style that your reading went. It was not, you know, like, I wasn't planning on doing it this way. I just kind of, whatever I saw. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Like, did this resonate? I know I was specifically like using the church example, but hopefully you were able to apply to like the scenario that's going on with you guys, with whoever that person was, and the situation there. If you guys did enjoy this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. Also, if you guys are subscribed to my channel, thank you very much. If you're not, no pressure, you don't have to, but I would really appreciate if you did subscribe, as it does help support my channel and me. So only if you would like, but you know, some people forget, and sometimes they're like, oh, I gotta remember, and then they forget. So if this could be a reminder for those of you that may have forgotten, this be it. Also, if you guys are interested, I do offer private personal readings. I make custom crystal bracelets. I have custom affirmation songs that I create for people also, and I will be soon offering distant Reiki and in-person Reiki, but that has to be like obviously local. But with the distant Reiki, I don't know. I'm talking about it now. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to possibly work on figuring out how I can offer that as a service, and I'll put it on my website. But for any of you guys who are curious about any of those things, you can reach out to me either through the contacts page on my website, or through the description box, or through my email, sorry, in the description box below. Also, I'm on Instagram for those of you guys who are curious. That is also in the description box below. I'm trying to be more active. I know that's been my mantra in a lot of my videos, but it just be what it be, you know? The fact that I'm trying is the most important thing, right? But yes, so if you guys want to say hi in there, say hi. You know, I'm here for it. I love hearing from you guys. Yes, but that was it for today, group 4. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sending you guys so much love, okay? So much light. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, a beautiful, blessed day. You guys have got this, okay? No more playing small. Keep being empowered. Keep being you, okay? And authentic to you, okay, guys? And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? In the next reading. Bye, group 4.